For those of you who've just joined us after closed session, welcome to this regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. I'm Laura Simon, Board President, and I'd like to introduce my fellow trustees, Lisa Pelosi, Sean Mora, Jeannie Kerr, and Jean Marie Wolf. I would also like to introduce our district staff, Superintendent Dr. Jody McClay, Assistant Superintendent Mr. Christopher Heller, Chief Business Official Dr. Kay Vang. Additional staff members are joining us in the audience. Director of Educational Services, Mrs. Araceli Roma Flores, Director of Facilities and Maintenance, Mr. Mike Flores, St. Helena High School Principal, Mr. Benjamin Cinto, RLS Middle School Principal, Mr. Andrew Ryan, and we've got our St. Helena Elementary School Principal, Ms. Kathy O'Connor, and St. Helena Primary School Principal, Ms. Rebecca Rocha. We're delighted that you are viewing in person on television channel 27 or on our YouTube channel. A copy of this board meeting video will also be available on our website at www.sthelenaunified.org. In connection with items 4A, 4B, 4C, and 4D, the board received information provided staff with direction. I want to go back. In connection with 4D, the board will return to closed session after our regular meeting. Okay. Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going to move on to 6A, public comment on open session items. Is there anyone present who wishes to publicly comment on items not on the meeting agenda? Okay. We'll move on to student learning and achievement. 7A, consideration of approval of the SHUSD 2026-27 school plans for student achievement. And I'd like to call on Mrs. Roma Flores.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Dr. McClay. I'm here to present our school site council, our SIPSIS, our school program improvement I can't even speak, sorry. It's been a long day. Yeah, it's been a really long day. Our school plan for student achievement from each of our sites. I'm really proud of our principals because they have are bringing these forward to you early this year, and they've been working with their school site councils and their ELACs to get that approved by them so that we could bring it forward to the board for approval.
Great. Okay. Is there anyone present who wishes to comment on this agenda item? Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item?
No.
You know, I have a logistical question. So what, with these reports, it goes to the California Department of Education? Is that where it goes?
No. So
okay.
These
That's
are
what
plans that are created locally. So they are aligned with our LCAP goals, but so our LCAP is our district goals, and then the site plans are focused on what they specifically need at each of our school sites. And so the school site council is responsible for approving it. The ELAC must provide consults, so it's kind of the whole organization that looks at the school plan for student achievement, and then it comes to the board for approval. And once you approve it, then that's when logistically they're able to allocate or use our funds.
So it's not shared with any other outside agency or anything then?
No.
No. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the 2026-27 school plans for student achievement as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carried. 7B, written report on the 2026-27 Local Control Accountability Plan monthly presentations. And I'd like to remind the board that this is a written report. Are there any public comments on this agenda item? Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item? Okay. 7C, written report on hate-motivated behavior for school year 2025-26. Again, I'd like to remind the board this is a written report. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item? No. Okay. I just wanted to give a quick shout out about this one. I just wanted to thank the high school and the RLS for such low percentages of suspension. And I also wanted to thank Principal Ryan from going from 45% suspensions in 23-24 to only 14 last year and 9 the year before that. So thank you so much. And Mr. Cinto as well, always keeping it within that range too. So thank you. Okay. We'll move on to 7D, report on 2026 summer school program. And I would like to remind the board that this is also a written report. Or did we, that's a mistake. That's okay. That's okay. I'd like to call on Ms. Roma Flores.
Hello.
Thank you.
So first of all, before I begin, I'd like to thank our teachers for providing some of the programs that we offered this summer and our educational partners, the Boys and Girls Club and Little Backpacks. Okay. Thank you, Kay, or whoever's monitoring that. All right, so we had several summer school offerings this year. We had the extended school year, which is offered to our special education students that qualify. And we offered it to potentially 44 students, but we had 25 students that actually participated in the extended school year program. And again, those are our special ed students that have extended school year written into their IEPs, their individual educational plans. And then for Little Backpacks, we had 16 qualifying ELOP students in TK that we invited to the Little Backpacks program, and all of those students participated. For the Boys and Girls Club, our ELOP program for our K through 6th grade students, we had 145 students that are eligible for the program that were invited to the program. We had 40 students that participated. And for the newcomer support program, we targeted our 6th through 11th grade English learners that scored a 1 on the English language proficiency assessment for California. And of the 27 that we targeted, we had 2 that registered. We couldn't get the others to register, and so it wasn't financially feasible to run that class, and so we ended up canceling it.
Okay.
And then we had a new offering, our Bridge to High School Math, which was a program for our incoming 9th graders, and we invited 71 students. 14 said yes, 17 said maybe, 40 said no, but only 3 students ended up coming, and only 1 student came 3 days, the other 2 only came 1 day. And so we ended up canceling that program as well for the second week, just because it wasn't financially feasible. And for credit recovery, we invited 58 students. We had, I believe it's 20 students that completed. I had 19, but I believe it's 20 that completed the program. And of those students, we had, actually, hold on. Yes, so we had 7 that 12th graders that completed the English piece portion, 1 student that completed the social studies. In 11th grade, we had 8 that completed the English and 3 social studies and 1 math. And we didn't have any completers in 10th grade.
Okay.
And for weightlifting and strength, that's an open attendance, and so it's whoever wants to come in and enjoy that benefit. So. And then we also worked with the Boys and Girls Club to provide the entire 9-hour day this year of our summer school program through Expanded Learning Opportunities program. And they provided really rich experiences. They had a STEM survival camp that the students really liked. They were taught how to trying to survive in nature, and they were on the outdoors, and they had to create a compass made out of household materials. They learned how to make a fishing rod and how to design shelters that would withstand the elements, and how to weave grass and weeds to do that. And so that's just an example of what they did. They also did some 3D printing, which was a great hit. That was, according to the counselors, one of the most popular activities is the 3D printing. And the new opportunity, the Bridge to High School Math, again, that was only offered for 2 weeks. We had to cut it down to 1 week just because of participation. But I do want to mention that the one student that did come, he, according to Mr. McMillan, he said that he made great progress on being able to solve multiple step linear equations and graphing. So it did make a difference for the one that came the longest, the most time. So for next year, we're thinking about how we can improve this. And next year, we want to make sure that we offer some direct instruction from our teachers. Mm-hmm. And so we were going to be advertising, working with the teachers to be able to provide at least some direct instruction throughout the summer school program, alongside with the Boys and Girls Club. So both of those programs simultaneously. And for the Bridge to High School Math Success, I think it would make a difference to have it earlier in the year versus at the end of the year. It just seemed like students are just not ready to come back just yet. And so we're going to try to do this again, but having 5 days a week for 2 weeks, but right after school gets out. See if that makes a difference. So that was our summer school offering. Any questions?
Okay, is there any public comment on this agenda item? Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item?
One question, just if you could help me understand better. For example, the Bridge to High School Math class, is that process, students are identified via, and then a letter home to parents, an email to parents, and this is why we think this would be beneficial? Is the student brought into that conversation with their parents?
Well, Mr. Ryan might be, or Mr. Center may be able to speak to that better, but what I know we did is we did a parent square notification to those students, because it was by invitation only. Okay. And then we also made follow-up calls. So Helena Robledo, our family engagement facilitator, made those calls, especially to the students that we really wanted to get to come. So she made multiple phone calls, and yeah, so there was a lot of outreach.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yes, of course.
I just wanted to add, when we were looking at our course offerings for this year and we were considering like a math foundations class, all the students at the middle, it was just for 9th graders only, and students coming from Pope Valley and Howell Mountain. They were identified early on, and then when we shifted course in terms of our course offerings, I mean, through different means, we also talked to those students individually about that offering. But yeah, Helena was a great help. And even when we had the early commits, and then the poor kid that showed up all by himself, and it was actually pretty funny. I said, "You're going to get a great one-on-one tutoring experience." We then sent out subsequent notifications to families to remind them of their early commitment. But I think, as Araceli put in the notes, like, we got to look at our timing, because I think they were kind of squeezing out the last bit of their summer. So.
Okay.
I have an A to G question. So if during the course of the year, a student takes a class trying to qualify for A to G, and they don't make the required grade, I understand you have to have a C or above, you get a D. If you take that class again in summer, does that erase and replace? Would that count? Like, if you took that same class as a credit recovery and you make the grade you need, does that check the box for you?
So it checks the box from A to G perspective, right? So a number of the kids that Araceli shared who were completers, upperclassmen, replaced a D grade at some point in time. So while it was English language arts, it might have been freshman year English language arts or sophomore or whatever. So a number of those, of the upperclassmen kids were remediating Ds. It does not erase it though. You can't erase a grade from a transcript. It just, it's added onto their transcript at a different point in time.
So would that help them qualify if
Yeah.
they see, okay,
Yeah, yeah. That's why we offer it to
Great.
students to remediate Ds.
thank you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm noticing just, it seems like the participation was low. And I'm thinking kind of like in the credit recovery class as well. Was it just not the year for doing summer classes and things, would you say? Or what's your thought? What's the thought of the team as far as this?
Yeah, it was really surprising to see that we didn't have more participation. And, you know, there was a lot of outreach, so I'm not really sure why that was.
No feedback from families as to why they wouldn't be, their children wouldn't be attending? No. I see Mr. Santos' head shaking. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was my question too, is like, was there feedback from parents why they wouldn't want to attend this year? No? Okay. Great, thank you.
I was just going to ask if you could send us the numbers, because I lost some of them. The counts of invited versus attended, if you could send those, because I lost some of them.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, do you want it? Mr. Santo has it?
It could be after.
Just should maybe put it in a Friday memo recap, is
Yeah.
that would,
I'll have them.
so then it lives somewhere as well.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, 7E, consideration of approval for the 2026-27 Expanded Learning Opportunities Program Plan. I'd like to call on Ms. Araceli Ramos-Flores again.
Hello again. Yes, so this year we had to rewrite our Expanded Learning Opportunity Program plan because we will have the Boys and Girls Club as our sole provider this school year. So I want to thank them for partnering with us because they are now going to be taking over the TK program. And so we're going to be offering TK through 6th grade at the Boys and Girls Club. So we'll have one provider. And because we will only have one provider, we had to revise our plan.
Okay.
So that's why we're bringing it forward to you today. It reflects all the changes.
Okay. Is there anyone present who wishes to publicly comment on this agenda item? Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item?
I have one, and only because I have a very close association with people at the primary school. A lot of the parents had felt they knew nothing about the TK after-school program, and I just wondered, has this been shared? I guess Boys and Girls Club kind of said, well, we didn't really know who we should tell, but some of the parents were unaware, trying to figure out what to do. So I just want to make sure that's something that is getting publicized as people are starting the school year.
Yes, we're creating a flyer, letting parents know that they can register. It's similar to what we did for summer school. They'll have to register with us to see if they qualify for ELOP.
Okay.
Because not all families qualify for Expanded Learning Opportunity Program. And then they'll also there'll be a QR code so that they also have to apply through the Boys and Girls Club. So they have to register twice.
And will there be room for students that don't qualify for ELOP, to pay for it, or do you know how that will work?
So ELOP will only pay for our students.
Right, but I mean, if you personally wanted that for your child, you don't qualify, are there?
That's the beauty of working with the Boys and Girls Club. The Boys and Girls Club is open to everyone in the community. And so
Right.
if families want to participate, they can register solely through the Boys and Girls Club. But if they want to, and there's a cost, right? I'm not sure what the fee is for the Boys and Girls Club. But our students that qualify through ELOP will not have to pay that fee.
Great. And are kindergarten and TK together, or are they in two separate spaces at the primary school this year?
So this coming school year, they're going to be, both will be at the primary schools.
Okay.
Is the plan
Together or separate classrooms?
for classrooms.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve expanded learning opportunities plan as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carried. 7F, consideration of approval for the memorandum of understanding between Napa County, St. Helena Public Library, and St. Helena Unified School District. Mrs. Araceli Roma Flores, please.
Yeah, so we're bringing you an MOU to approve this evening so that our students can participate in the One Card program, which is a program that Napa Valley Unified School District already uses, and we want to make sure that our students also have access. So they'll be using their student ID. We've partnered with Hawks Photography to create our student IDs with their number, a modified number, so that they can use that as their library card. So they'll be able to use their student IDs to check out any of the materials from the library. They also will have access to what's called Brain Fuse, which is on-demand, anytime e-learning tutorials. So we're really excited about that free offering. And yeah, so we'd like to have the board approve that so that we can then have Hawks Photography create our student ID cards that we can introduce to our students as their library card in the
Great.
fall.
Is there anyone present who wishes to publicly comment on this agenda item? Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item?
Just, it sounds like a no-brainer, yes.
I just had one question. If a book is lost, how does that work? Is it still between the student and the family and the public library?
It is,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
And it's probably in there, Araceli, but is this from primary through high school?
It
All
is,
grades?
yes.
Okay, thanks.
Is there a motion to approve the MOU between Napa County, St. Helena Public Library, and SHUSD as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carried. 7G, consideration of approval for the data sharing and direct admissions partnership agreement between CSU Chancellor's Office and St. Helena Unified School District. Mr. Bencinto.
Right. Okay, well, I'm going to apologize in advance if I fumble through this. Dr. McClay asked me to prepare this presentation. I don't know, what was that, 3 weeks, a month ago? I went home last night and I was like, I'm going to go review, I'm going to be prepared, and I had no internet or power.
Yeah.
So if I fumble a little, please forgive me. Are we going into clicker? No? Oh, sorry. It's not in present mode, sorry. Okay.
Dr. Vega needs to be in present mode before it will let him click. Perfect. Right from the, yeah, thank you.
All right. This is just, I wanted to make sure you had the legal reference in there, so that's an active link if you're interested in reading what precipitated this MOU before you. So these are the main objectives. So it's a proactive rather than reactive. A student applies, they get a notification, which is actually, to me, one of the most exciting parts of this when you think about it, because a lot of students formulate their post-secondary plans, and as much as they might be a great student here at the high school, and whether for whatever reason, and maybe they're thinking, I'm going to go straight into a two-year college, nothing wrong with that, but I think it changes the student mindset when before you even apply, you get a notice that you qualify for the participating CSUs. I don't know. I talk with students all the time about their post-secondary plans, and I just think it affords them a different kind of perspective about what their options might be. Obviously, for us as a school, it just increases the data we get and helps us you know, maybe motivate a student a little differently, because the counselors, as you'll see in subsequent slides, they receive information back about what a student might do. So you think about, you know, your question about APEX course completion, right? There's a reason 10th graders didn't complete courses, because they think they have a ton of time left. And those are incoming 10th graders, not current 10th graders. That's why you didn't see 9th grade on there. So they're 9th graders from last year. So this might incentivize them to complete APEX for any course remediative needs at a sooner rate, knowing that they can increase their course. They don't have to take independent study during the school year. These are the 3 categories of eligibility. Obviously, students who meet it, who are on track. I think last year our A to G rate was 60%, 58, something like that, I forget. Obviously, you have category 3 students who will not meet. You know, we're still going to work with them and, you know, develop post-secondary plans, offer remediation, this, that, and the other. But I think where we can make the most headway is in that category 2, kids who are close. And those are the ones that I'm talking about, who maybe it was 1D at one point in time. So counselors will get that data back in particular moves or things they might offer those students. You know, I can't tell you how many, oh my gosh, permit to attends I filled out this summer for students taking college coursework over the summer. I would wager it was about 30 to 40, which is awesome. 20 of them were from one student, but our kids are doing stuff outside of school, which is really phenomenal to better situate themselves. This is the kind of workflow. This is how it happens. Students are identified. They get an offer even without applying, right? And then they log into their Cal State Apply and go through that process. I know our counselors over the years, for some students who we know qualify and they kind of, for me, what's most exciting is we already know that they qualify through this process and they receive notification, the family receives notification. A lot of times our students have been walked through the application process with a counselor side by side because they just don't complete it. So this will hopefully ease that process. This is the basic, what data do we give to them and what data do we get in return? So I'm not going to read that, but really, you know, demographic information, contact information, those kind of things. In which category did they land in 1, 2, or 3 from the preceding slide? But more excited for us, I mean, this is what we get live time, right? Like who's received notification about their admission. I'm not going to deny, like, admittance by status, campus, major, or degree program. So, you know, I would wager nursing would be one of those that, you know, if you claim you're going to be a nurse, there's going to be limitations as to where you're accepted because it's a really high sought after major. I don't know if I listed on there the 17 of the 22 CSUs that are participating, but the ones that aren't, because I'd imagine that'd be a question tonight, was Fullerton, Long Beach, San Diego, San Jose, and San Luis Obispo. Those are the non-participating CSUs. And then, obviously, you see statement of intent to register. So then we receive confirmation of the students who's completed that process. Our counselors will still work with students to you know, hand over hand, work with them as they apply, because a lot of them need that kind of support. And then we get data back in terms of, you know, who's going where and doing what, which is really exciting. Obviously, any kind of data sharing agreement between institutions, we have to protect ourselves. Obviously, parents are allowed to exempt themselves through the parent notice and opt out. You know, they are deemed a school official through this process. We're school officials, but there's strict, as you see, restriction and redisclosure. So received data is strictly confined to, so if you're worried about third-party data sharing, they say it's not going to happen, right? So that's, I know a lot of worries. It's like, if the CSU system gets our data, are my kids going to be getting credit card offers for, you know, whatever? The answer is no. So again, security and governance. So required destruction. So they don't get to hold onto our data in perpetuity. So after 30 days, if those students don't enroll and they've they've applied, gone through the preceding processes that were listed, if they don't, they have to destroy the data. And we can audit them, and they can audit us as well. These are just the milestones in terms of who it's covered in the term of this agreement that's before you. So it covers every single senior. Obviously, if they opt out, they won't be covered. CS, we talked about that. And 15-day clause, we can terminate this agreement in 15 days, at any time. We are, in terms of roadmap, we're at number 1. So I just want you to know what happens after this process. So assuming you approve this MOU tonight, then we obviously we're going to make sure we afford people the opportunity to opt out. If they want to, it might already, I haven't looked yet in our annual notice to parents, it might be in there already, but I would want to double check anyway and send a double notification, given that this is something new and different. Students, after we send them their information, they get direct offers, and then we start to track their applicant data and all those things, and provide counseling support for those students listed in category number 2. And here's the kind of legal protection. So we hold each other harmless, but I know this is not unique to us. A lot of schools are doing this across the state of California at this point in time. So we feel confident in the legal protection established in the MOU. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cinto.
Yeah.
That was great,
question?
considering you had no internet and
Well,
no
we were going on a good
electricity.
clip,
Yeah,
so I
it
didn't
was
want to
great.
slow us down.
It was
So
fantastic. Okay, is there anyone present who wishes to publicly comment on this agenda item? Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item?
I have a question. Typically, there's a fee when you apply to every CSU. How does that work in this scenario?
I would imagine, again, they receive notification of their qualification, and then they still have to go through the application process, right?
Okay, so they still, okay.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
answers my question.
I don't think the CSU is going to forgive that.
That's what I was kind of
but-
curious about. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. My question was, how long of a process, do they kind of hear back, if they prioritize, these are the 4 CSUs I want to go to, is it something that could take over months, like you might find out this month, or do they pretty much shoot out back and say, here's where you've qualified, or you could be accepted?
This is a brand new process. So I
Okay.
have no timeline, but as you've seen in a lot of the CSUs, the turnaround, they've extended their application windows. CSU enrollment is hurting at this point in time, and that's what I would wager this is part of that process to make sure people understand that they can go to a CSU. But yeah, I'm not too sure how this is going to work in terms of notification. But what I like is that our counselors will be notified that students, this is where they stand in terms of their place of category 1, 2, or 3. And that can help them in their moves and prompting students to, hey, I know you said you're going to go to Santa Rosa Junior College, but I want you to know this is an opportunity. We have a FAFSA workshop. Don't close the door on something like that just because that was your idea 2 months ago. So I'm interested to see how it all unfolds when students start receiving notifications and if it has any impact on our CSU enrollment whatsoever.
Wasn't there, Sean, you're more recent with college, we're 5 years, 6 years out, like the Common App, wasn't there one fee to apply for any CSU school?
Not for CSUs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's Cal State Applied. That's where they still go in and apply to all the CSUs.
But you still pick and pay per school.
Yeah.
I think we only applied to one, sorry.
Mr. Sinta, my question, and I apologize, I think you touched on it, but I want to just make sure I had it. So your notification goes out to parents that we're now going to be in this program. How are the seniors going, same way it's going to get pushed out to their account? I'm sorry, I can't keep all the platforms, Aries or what is it? Parent Square, and that's, or will there be an assembly for the entire senior class to let them know, that this is something we're doing?
No, that's a good question. I don't want to.
That's what it's called, advisory.
I guess what I'm going to say is, of course, we're going to send out blanket notifications.
Sure.
But I want to make sure people fully understand. So, that's something I have to noodle through. Sometimes we do passive permission, right?
Yeah.
But when we're sending student data, I want to establish some other precautions to make sure people know what
Yeah.
we're really sharing. And that slide that showed the things that we're sharing, contact information, and obviously there's going to be transcripts. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure everybody fully understands this agreement we're engaging in, so that if they're worried, because there are fears around data sharing that which are validated, and
Yeah.
can't tell you how many times, spam emails, those kind of things. And I want to make sure that people know what's happening, including the students as well. So
Okay.
how we, assuming it's going to be approved, we'll make sure we try and do our best to educate the parent community, knowing that we're going to be sending their kids' data to someone.
Sure. And our counselors are feeling excited by this opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, actually very excited. I mean, we came to you last year when Sonoma State had kind of started that process. They're part of this process now, so I would imagine that MOU will just sunset because it's the same thing. Last year you approved the MOU for the STARS program to start with those highly selective universities across. Our counselors are actively working with students on that. We've identified 24 or so. So things are ticking up.
Great.
I mean, super excited, and yeah.
Okay, thank you.
With that, how long is this program going on, specifically this program? Would you say a couple years, or?
Oh, no, it just started. It's brand new.
It's about-
Oh, yeah, just started.
just started? Yeah, okay, great, thank you, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay. Is there a motion to approve data sharing and direct admissions partnership agreement as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carried. We'll move into communications. 8A, Superintendent Report.
All
Dr.
right.
McClay.
Good evening. It's been a very busy summer here at the district office. We recruited and added 4 new staff members that we'll be introducing to our whole staff tomorrow. 1 teacher who will be joining the math team at the high school, 2 paraprofessionals, and a data integration specialist. So lots of work in that regard. A lot of facilities projects going on that Dr. Vang will be sharing more in detail about this evening, as well as a lot of summer school, a variety of summer school programs that you heard from Mrs. Romo Flores about. This is all in anticipation for students returning on Monday. Yes, that's Monday, just a few days from now. Today, we officially welcomed back our teachers, and I had the privilege of visiting many of them in their classrooms, and there is quite a lot of enthusiasm in the air. It would seem that folks are ready and excited, rested, recharged, and so we're really looking forward to that. Tomorrow is our official district welcome back event, where we actually have some employees who are returning for their first day tomorrow, our paraprofessionals as well as our food service workers. So we are super excited to kick off with a theme of Indiana Jones, Let the 2627 Adventure Begin. So we would encourage all staff to get a good night's rest tonight. They're going to be busy and have a lot of fun. And then we would encourage all of our parents and students to rest up because we look forward to seeing them on Monday.
Thank you.
I think I just would like to extend a big thank you to everybody in this building, because I know you've worked really hard, and having that welcome back tomorrow and the first day of school on Monday and having a board meeting tonight. I know that was a lot of work, so I want to acknowledge that for putting that all together and making it happen, and for the staff that's been back as well for a couple of weeks and everybody getting everything ready. The campuses are looking great. So thank you to everybody for all you're doing to welcome our kids back.
Thank you for that. It's been a lot of hard work. Mrs. Romo Flores was not kidding when she got up to the podium and said it's been a long day. I think we've got a whole team of folks who are still here in the back room cutting and laminating and putting things together. But it's also been fun, and it's really neat to work with such awesome people.
Great. Thank you. Okay. 8B, Chief Business Officials Budget Update. Dr. Vang.
Hi, thank you. I have 3 items to share with the board today, but first, let me pull this up. Okay. The first item that I'd like to share with the board is regarding our food service department. In the last 3 years, we are Provision 2 school, which is a method of alternative meal counting collection. And that program has ended for us. We are now switching over to a community eligibility provision, otherwise known as CEP. Our new food service director, Mrs. Tina Ledesma, has applied for CEP, and we have successfully been given this status. So for the next 3 years, we will be in a CP status, which just means that when we submit our mill counting, we will be using a identified percentage, and we've already worked this out with CDE. Our application has been approved, and so regardless of whether you're a P2 or CP district, on the bottom here, I've shared the reimbursement rates that both the federal and the state reimbursement rates are listed here, so you can see that for both breakfast and lunch, and also a comparison to the last 2 years. So we're excited and looking forward to being in CEP status, because this also means a more streamlined paperwork process for us, and hopefully just easier in terms of how we collect our data from students on a day-to-day basis. The second item that I like to share with the board is, as you may know, I am working on closing our 25-26 books, and these are our final numbers for our utility bills for last school year. You probably have seen this chart before. I did add last year's numbers, and you can see here that the total for last school year was actually less compared to the 24-25 and 23-24 school year. I believe that there are several factors that have led to this decrease in our utility bills. We've implemented some new protocols. We've had some trainings. Thank you to the board. You've approved some board contracts that have allowed us to really focus on our utility bills in terms of how can we lower this. So I think it has been a team effort. And so we're excited and looking forward to keeping this down, or, right there status if we have any control over this. And then the last item I wanted to share with the board is an update on security cameras. In 2025, we had engaged Newcomb and Boyd to conduct a district-wide security assessment for us. And one of the things that, one of their primary recommendations was to upgrade our security cameras so that they are, to evaluate our existing cameras and explore replacement options. So we've been working on that for the last year, and we have next steps to share these recommendations to subcommittees. And I would even say that in the near future, you will see this item come up, and you will have more information regarding security cameras. Thank you.
Dr. Vang, quick clarifying question. With the Food Services Department and our CEP, does that still mean that breakfast and lunch are still free for every student?
Yes, we're still part of the California Universal Meals, so by law, we have to offer a free breakfast and a free lunch, at least 2 meals to students every school day.
Okay, thank you. Okay. 8C, St. Helena Teachers Association, report to the board, and I'd like to call on the new president, Ms. Bond.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me this evening. I'm Angie, and I'm looking forward to this year ahead as the SHTA president. I first want to appreciate Mark Lulsdorf for his prior years of service. I know that it's not an easy job. However, I'm honored and humbled that our members trust me to continue with this important work. I look forward to working together with all of you, the board, our administrators, as well as teachers, students, and staff. I'm feeling hopeful about the progress that we've made in negotiations. I appreciate the time and work that has gone into this process from everyone involved, and I'm optimistic that we are moving toward a positive conclusion. One of my goals as the SHTA president is to really open up the lines of communication between our teachers and the board. I hope we can create more opportunities for open dialogue where we can share perspectives, ask questions, and better understand one another. Ultimately, we all care deeply about our schools and our students, and I think stronger communication can only help us work better together. This summer, I had the opportunity to attend a CTA conference for association presidents. It was an incredibly positive experience. I met educators and association leaders from districts throughout California. Hearing about their experiences was very eye-opening. It gave me a much broader perspective on both the challenges facing public education and the things we are fortunate to have here in St. Helena. I came home from that conference with a renewed appreciation for our district. We have excellent schools, dedicated educators and staff, supportive families, and a community that has historically placed a high value on education. I'm so grateful to be starting this new role with that perspective, and I hope that we can continue to build on all of the things that make our district special. Thank you so much.
Thank you. 8D, California School Employees Association report to the board, and I'd like to call on President Ms. Rico Terrell.
Good evening, members of the school board and district office administration. My name is Cindy Terrell, a paraprofessional and our CSEA Union Chapter President. After a much-needed summer break, we're excited for the new school year and a fresh start. We look forward to being a vital part of student growth, both academically and emotionally, and to have positive, respectful collaboration amongst staff. This past year was difficult. We went from an average of 73 classified staff in our bargaining unit down to 69, and several of those positions may not be filled. That's causing some concern amongst our members. Fewer staff means fewer eyes and ears on students, added strain on custodians, food service, secretaries, and IT, and growing special education and SEL needs possibly going unmet. We're human, we get sick, life happens. Less staffing means less gets done, or students' needs fall through the cracks. We're now in the final stages of bargaining wages for the 2026 and 2027 reopeners, and I'd ask the board to consider two things. First, please build room into the budget to hire additional classified staff as needed, so we don't have to pull from staff from their assigned duties. Last year, staff was covering other positions up to 2 to 3 days a week at times. Second, please allow for a fair wage in line with the cost of living, so our staff aren't working multiple jobs to survive in one of the most expensive counties in the country. I understand that as a basic aid district, the state's cost of living adjustment doesn't apply to us the way it does elsewhere. I raise it only as a benchmark. This year's COLA is 4.31%, the standard the state has set, and what classified staff in neighboring districts are positioned to receive. Because our funding is local and relatively stable, the board has flexibility to prioritize competitive wages. Please also remember that a percentage raise for a non-full-time classified employee, about 90% of us, means far fewer dollars than the same raise for a teacher or administrator. Not all of us have health care fully covered, which averages at least an additional $500 a month. Meanwhile, rent in the area starts around $3,000 a month. Affording an average home now takes well over $400,000 a year in income, and our town isn't easily accessible to Bay Area highways. So recruiting and keeping good people is a real challenge. We share the same goal, a stable, supported staff that gives our students the best experience possible. We're deeply invested in this district and want to keep building it with you. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. We'll move on to business operations. 9A, contracts over $25,000 for August 2026. Dr. Vang.
Thank you, President Simon. I have 4 contracts over $25,000. The first is with Pacific Tree Care for work to be done over at the elementary school. As you may recall, our arborist, Jake Snyder with Pacific Tree Care has done an inspection report back in 2024, 25 for us, and we have worked hard in putting a maintenance plan in place to ensure that our trees are well kept in terms of mitigating, high-risk trees that may be not in the best health and may need to be addressed. So we asked the board that you approve this contract so that we can continue this work that we've started over at the elementary school. And I've also linked the inspection report just in case you like to see that. The second contract is for legal services for this coming school year. And the third contract is an annual renewal. You've seen this previously in the past. It's an annual renewal for our special ed department. And then the last one is, again, an MOU. It's renewal. You've seen this before. It's for our Napa Valley Adult Ed education program that's held over at the high school. This really is a pass-through funding to ensure that we can participate in this program. So thank you.
Okay, is there anyone present who wishes to publicly comment on this agenda item? Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item?
It's more of a commentary for all of our listening fans present and maybe watching us, because this is a community that has a high sensitivity to the trees that exist in our town. So I think it's important to note that on that bid, these are the ones that are moderate risk, and it's not calling for the removal of any trees. It's all cleanup. It's mitigating dead branches that could be falling primarily on people and then buildings. But I think it's important to know that. I know that Jake is very sensitive to the trees in our community as well. So I just wanted to highlight that this is not removal. This is healthy maintenance for that. So, and I appreciate that he stays on it and that you stay on it with him, Dr. Fang. So thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the contracts over $25,000 as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carried. Facilities, 10A, facilities projects and financing update. Dr. Vang.
All right, I'm going to have our facilities director, Mike Flores, come up to the podium, and he is going to provide the board with an update on summer projects that have happened this summer, projects that he and his team have either worked on or supported outside contractors with. So let me bring up the presentation.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
No, it's okay. Do you want to click it, or? Okay, I'll click it. Now, it's just too much pressure now. It's like, I can't handle this. I need Araceli to help me. Welcome back. Happy to be here. I'm still here. It was a long summer because it was a challenging summer, but we got a lot of stuff done. It had a lot of challenges, and we learned a lot. But we're happy to welcome staff back today, and we feel we've put a good effort towards welcoming the students back as well. And
Great.
I'll show you some pictures here. So our first stop is at the primary school, where we focused on some landscape cleanup. We did some tree removal, some dead bushes. The parking lot is still a work in progress. We did get a lot of the lines painted, but we're still going over there because, as I said, it's just been a very interesting summer. And to help with our custodial crew, we engineered some flaps there to help prevent some the crows from feasting on leftovers in there and causing a huge mess. Over to the St. Helena Elementary School. There was a lighting upgrade at Carpy Field that kind of coincided with the Echo Green lighting upgrade. We're actually, just in full transparency, we're calling them back because they are so bright and effective. We're having them tilt them down, and we're going to put shrouds over them so it's not glaring into neighbors' yards. but highly effective and very nice, and I'm glad I didn't have to do it and my crew didn't have to do it. So thank you for approving that. We did some blacktop painting for lineup lines as much as we could, because as we all know, the site is under construction. So as soon as they're done, we will head back over there and do the rest of that as soon as we can. The slide over there needs to be replaced. It's really difficult to find an exact replacement slide. As a matter of just being safe, I went ahead and removed it because I don't want any kids to get hurt, obviously. We did some spotting windows over at the shop building before construction started. There were just some extra windows that just got missed. We went to the playground, completely filled it up with bark. We also went to the Gaga Ball court and filled it up as well. Just this week, we dropped off some decomposed granite at the Redwood in front of the school, just to dress up the front side of the school. We go to RLS Middle School. Here we dealt with some plumbing that was impacted by some tree roots. The flooring in F4, it says in progress. We got it done. It is done. Patty's inside her room. She's very happy. And then we had an ADA bar that we had to install for a new student. We got some new desks and chairs for D2, and we also had a irrigation repair that we had to take care of in the D wing. Then we go to the high school, and we had another plumbing issue at the 300 wing. I'm working with Greystone, and we're working with a contracting plumber to permanently fix that issue. Before that hit, we had the joy of dealing with a busted water main over by the tennis courts. So that was just one of those curveballs that we had this summer. We had some PAC lights that are out. So I'm hoping that when we go into the PAC tomorrow, there's no lights that are flickering and driving me crazy. I know they drive a lot of people crazy. We did the gym floor finish in the main gym. We had some random safety lines that needed to be painted around the gym. Their cafeteria floor, I don't know if anybody has not seen it, but you should go see it because it looks fantastic. We did door hard unification, meaning getting us all into the same keying system across the high school. We've started in the 100, 200, and 300 wings to try to finish that project out. And we will continue that. There was a couple, again, random windows in 205 and 102 that needed to be tinted. We had to paint the fascia board to finish out the re-roofing project at the weight room. We did that in-house. And then we have district office. I just kind of tagged all these on here. These are all things that we assisted with. So the eco-green lighting, preventative maintenance, Bell Products comes in and they do filter replacement and also check over of all the units to see any repairs that need to happen. We had some sprinkler irrigation heads that were just faulty all across the district. All of our fire extinguishers inspected, fire alarms started testing this week. I have 3 sites done. I'm holding on elementary because it's under construction, or at least 2/3 of it, a third of it. We got all the kitchen hoods, science hoods, fire sprinkler hydrants. Say it was scheduled this week, we got them done. And then thanks for approving the Pacific Tree Care at the elementary school. They did complete the high school RLS and primary school. And then I did a work change system cut over to Facilitron, which kind of unifies us with our reservation system. And lastly, we went ahead and threw in a new bench at the bus stop down here. just for fun, because we just wanted to challenge ourselves. The electric gate is installed at the maintenance yard. It works fabulously.
Hey.
I'm sure the bus drivers are very excited about it. We're still actively adding more HVAC controls, and in specific locations, they just happen to be one-offs that stand alone, but we're getting them online and getting them dialed in and put on schedules. And lastly, like, these are all projects and these are all great, obviously. I would still just like to acknowledge my custodial crew, who continues to do just a fantastic job day in and day out. And I got to work with Martha's crew, so Martha, Vanessa, and Adolfo, and Jeanette. Jeanette was just here, she just left. But I helped them in the culinary kitchen, and I'm a boss, and things get weird when the boss wants to help or whatever, so I helped them. But just to express the joy it was, I know it sounds silly, but cleaning a floor is very satisfying for me. I love pressure washing. It's like instant gratification when you're doing things like these. But the synchronicity that this group has, and I'm jumping in, and the way that they work, and the way that they just like pick up each other while one is doing something else, and then the other one fills in, and then and then I have to take off, and then they take over the control, and it's just a great thing to see. It makes me feel good. And I know it exists at all the sites with all the custodians, so I just want to personally thank them, and we should all thank them, because the rooms do truly look great. So, question?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the behind-the-scenes work that we need to always remember that happens in the summer.
Truly.
Thank you so much. And
They're awesome.
Yeah. And you are as well. Thank you.
I try.
Okay. We'll move on to.
Well, before you move on, can I?
Absolutely.
I just, a couple of things, because I do want to obviously say ditto to what you just said, because they are like the unsung heroes that make everything work, and their efforts, may not get daily publicity, but they are definitely appreciated. So thank you very much for calling that out. Quick question on bark for the playground. Do we get complimentary bark from Pacific Tree Care for our playgrounds?
Yes and no. But
Okay.
the playground should be technically an engineered bark.
Okay.
For safety.
Yeah, that probably makes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just wondering, because by the coloring that I noticed, I'm like, oh, that's some of the complimentary stuff that tree companies will give to sites, but figuring that schools have a higher threshold of requirements and liability, that makes sense. And then I want to let you know that we were in the PAC yesterday. I didn't see any flickering lights. So I think you're good. So celebrate the win. And thank you for everything.
I'll take that.
Okay.
Any other comments? Okay.
And President Simon, we actually have for this agenda item another presentation. So what Mike did was the district projects done by his team, and our second presentation is actually an update on the elementary school building A, B, and E update, since we have some updates to share with the board in terms of DSA approval and where we are with the project and timelines and all that fun stuff. So send over to Trent and John.
I gotta steal the clicker back. So we are here to talk about the mess we've made at the elementary school and make sure that we update you on our progress, where we're at, and how we will continue to move forward. As always, please interrupt with any questions. These are much, much better as conversations and presentations. We're going to talk about our current progress. We're going to talk about a schedule update. We're going to talk about where we are with contingency and money. And then we're going to talk about our next steps and how we're going to finish strong. So, construction is underway. I don't think that's a secret to anybody. We're making very good progress on the work there. And even with the added costs from the DSA approval delays, right, that pushed us out of that window. So there were some costs due to our lease-back contractor. We still believe we're within budget. So that's some good news there. We'll talk a little bit more about. And then I really just want to say, and I'll say this again, credit should be given to the campus, the elementary school community, and the district staff for adapting to this. This has not been a traditional summer. This has not been a traditional project. There will be some impacts, and your team has done an incredible job adjusting to that. So thank you to our hosts over at the elementary school for the good work they're doing to assure a successful project for all students. So, schedule update. We've been talking about this since, when we put the drawings in about December. We got word from the state that they're going to have some delays in the plan reviews. We were able to get some of that back, but we weren't able to recapture all of that. So that put us about 3 to 4 weeks back from where we wanted to start. We talked a little bit about the 6 to 8 week window. We got about half of that back. We were not able to recapture that all. We have been doing a lot of good work with Holly Construction. They're our lease-back contractor. They worked very diligently with us through that process of negotiating how to change that, how to address that, how to make sure that the construction expanding past that summer window impacts the students the least. They've done a great job. They've been very good and collaborative partners, which is what we want to see in that lease-back process. So I just wanted to make sure to give them credit where due. The team, once we figured that we were going to push out of that summer window, refocused the work to make sure that we could turn over the shop building to those students at the start of school. We were able to successfully do that. They will now move on to building A, right, which is the water damaged building, and they will work on that. That progress is going to take probably through the late fall, at which point we'll move some students into that and then begin on the last building. So there will be a little bit of a shell game, but we do believe we'll be able to minimize some of the impact on the students. And again, portions of the campus is going to remain closed off. We should expect that throughout the semester. They're all secured with fences. Holly has some a good track record of working on occupied campuses. They're putting all of those best practices into play. The students will be safe and secured. Those fence lines will be checked. Everything will be monitored. So there will be some safety and continuity to that, just to make sure that, while we go through and see some of that work taking place, they're very, very skilled at working on active campuses, and that was some of the questions that came up in the interview. So we do know that they have that history. Okay, money, always the big important one, right? Your Greystone team planned the project very wisely. And I'm not just saying that because they're behind me. They did a very good job anticipating what we'd see when we came through that. I don't know if I did that or not. Can we go back to the top there, okay? Whatever. They did a very good job planning the project wisely. We knew we'd have a lot of unknowns, and we knew with the DSA delays, we just want a high level of contingency. So right now, for full transparency, we had about $800,000 of contingency built into that project, just knowing that underground is kind of crazy, and we knew we'd have these delays. We're right about $400,000 of those requests, right? But the good news is we've explored that campus. You can definitely go by and see that we've been doing a lot of exploration there. We think that a lot of those unknowns are known now, and that $400,000 does have in it the overtime requests and the DSA delay requests. So we've been able to eat both of those big chunks in that $400,000. So we're optimistic that we will be able to remain within budget at this time. We do have some more work to do. We do have a little bit of demo to do, so I'm not going to give back that money just yet. We'll definitely keep you updated as we move through it. We'll have a lot of transparency into that. We know we need to do that. So while I do think we're tracking well, I want to make sure that we're realistic about that and that we will bring those back to you. We have also been working with NBSIA to talk with them weekly to talk about how some of those project changes break out to the district as well as the insurance company. They've also been really good partners in that. So you're going to see that through this update, it's going to be a lot about collaboration and a lot about working hard. Everybody, district side, insurance side, contractor side, construction management side, have really worked diligently to make sure that this project's been a success. So we will come back to you with some updates as those rough order of magnitude requests turn into actual contingency draws. We'll go through all the backup. Your construction managers will go through all the backup, and then we'll bring that to you with that level of accountability so you know that all of those charges will be fully vetted. Okay, next steps. Shop building's ready. The kids are in it. Construction will continue late into the year. The site is safed off. The students will be make sure that point between the students and the construction is always safe. And then all that future activity is going to be very sensitive to student learning. We are making some noise. We acknowledge that, but we're doing it in a way that we hope impacts students the least. So that will be either outside of time windows when students are there or even into some of that overtime hours that we're talking about. So we're going to do a lot to minimize our sensitivity to our student learners. And then again, I'm going to wrap up and just say thank you to the campus. We understand it is an inconvenience. This has kind of gone beyond pardon our dust. So thank you for your willingness to embrace us being there. We'll do our best to be very, very good neighbors to work through those challenges as they arise. Any questions? Figured there'd be a couple.
I'll wait.
Any questions?
Is it public comment? Do you have to ask for? Oh, okay. I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna pertain to contingency. And help, when reading this, it was, quite honestly, it was a bit frustrating to see that most of the allotment of the contingency is on overtime work. I understand it's DSA delays contributed to that. But I guess my question is that something that I wanted to kind of have a discussion around is at what point, if we know we're already behind, we lost amount of weeks. So at what point do you determine that if we're not going to finish in time to open our doors that part of campus for students, then when do we pull the plug on overtime? And just say, well, if it's not going to get done, because I'm still curious to know how much of that is overtime, because it was a little hard to stomach, just quite honestly. If we were doing that and something was able to be opened and utilized paying overtime, that's one thing, but it still seems like that wasn't the case, and we've spent all this money on overtime. And I'm not being very eloquent in what I'm trying to say, but the point is that I think going forward, like no more overtime, to use our contingency money on overtime.
To be very, very transparent, that $400,000 is not all overtime. That's a lot of things, and I believe, and you can step in and correct me if I'm wrong. I think the overtime allocation is a bucket that they've asked to utilize some of. I don't believe it exceeds $50,000.
Okay, well, that makes me feel better.
I apologize. Yeah, no, this is not.
Yeah, it was hard. It was kind of hard to break it out just by reading that. And so, thank you, because you've brought down my level of angst about that tremendously. Okay, so I'll let somebody else go next.
I was going to say that that's exactly how I felt too about overtime. I'm not keen on paying overtime. If we're behind schedule, we might just need to extend it out where it's just happening, where we open it up in January. Or, I'm not going to get involved in the logistics of stuff, but the overtime thing, I was not happy with that one either.
Absolutely, and that's why we're here. We're taking this for feedback, and we will, again, through that collaborative process with the lease-back contractor, say, hey, we've heard from the district that we would like to minimize any overtime payments, and we'll accept more of a project delay. I don't believe we will push into January, honestly, at this point. But again, just to clarify, and I'll get that, I'll follow back up with Dr. Vang, even the rough order of magnitude request that they've assigned for overtime, I believe is right around the $40,000 range. So only 10% of the $400,000 that we've talked about is going to that. Absolutely.
Okay.
But we'll definitely take that direction back again.
Thank
and
you.
We'll communicate that to our contractor for sure.
Great. Yeah.
That's why we come.
Any other comments, questions? Yeah.
I think mine was mostly about that.
Yeah, and I apologize for that miscommunication. The intent of this slide was to let you know that of that 400,000, it includes all of that delay as well.
So why does a delay cost money? So what, the 350K that is still contingency, those are actually things that we found that we didn't plan on?
Yeah, so of that, and just rough order of magnitude, right? So these are requests that they've made that we are vetting now. One of the things that you'll see as these projects push out, right? Our lease-back contractor has the ability to charge us what they call general conditions. And that's sort of their cost to do the project. Their site foremen, their in-office workers, just sort of the cost of doing business associated with the project. So they'll set that aside and say, hey, it was our understanding that this was going to be a 3-month process. So in that guaranteed maximum price we had, there were the general conditions for 3 months. Since we pushed out of that window, there will be some extra general conditions. Now, them asking for them does not mean they automatically get them. They get to ask for them. John gets to say yes, no. Steve gets to say yes, no. We get to all say yes or no to that. They have the right to petition for that because their foreman will push out further. Their site supervision will push out forward. Their project manager in their office.
Because they're waiting to work.
Yeah, and they just kind of, so we had a placeholder for that time. And because we went past that window, there will be some added costs there. It will be completely vetted through your construction management team, but it is allowable to that. And I think right now the extended GCs, even for pushing us out to December, are right around $90,000. That's their initial request, right? That will be vetted by Greystone, and we'll bring that back to you for sure.
do supplies and materials go into that general conditions as well? I mean, because like, say, when they thought materials cost X amount of dollars in that first window, and now it's been pushed up, and things have gotten more expensive, and tariffs have been added, and now they go to purchase materials, and
this is where I'll rely on John to
Okay.
just tap me on the back to say
Okay.
if I'm talking crazy.
Okay.
My understanding is that they've bought this stuff out, so the purchase prices have been locked in.
Okay.
So now if they were to uncover something, like we were to dig up, an automobile or something, and then they can go, that new work they can add at the new pricing, but I do believe that we are solidly bought out for the work that is in the plans. So that work is already purchased through that agreement. Oh, he's pushing me, so I'm making a mistake.
No, and there is language in the contract about tariffs, and once they lock in their price, how that can be handled. So they've already thought about that within the contract your legal counsel has.
It kind of just blows my mind that across all school districts in the state that are delayed in our position, the dollar amount because of their delay, just kind of be mind-blowing, which is frustrating.
It is, it's really frustrating, and with that, what I want to ask, so it seems to me that would be one of the disadvantages of the leaseback.
No, I think in the end, it's one of the advantages, right? Because if we had hard bid this, we'd be looking at moving away from even canceling that contract, possibly rebidding it. We'd lose that escalation. Having that collaborative partner in this moment is very, very strong for us because we can sit them down. When I'm getting these delays and I'm 2-3 weeks out, we can say, how do we salvage this? How do we rework the schedule? How do we do this in a way that benefits the students so that we can make sure the shop building is open and around there? So I do believe that we are very fortunate to have a strong lease-leaseback partner. If we had hard bid this, every single one of these delays would be a constant renegotiation of price, because every single one of those weekly delays would be tacked on to that as well. So having this collaborative relationship and a transparent negotiation process of that, I think is very, very beneficial to you. I understand the frustration at the state, and that's something we can talk back. It is a statewide issue. There is a coalition of superintendents that have some frustration, and they may be bringing it forward, and that's something we can pass along to you. But
Okay.
it is common across all of my clients that we are seeing these projects push well outside the summer window, and those costs have been added.
Yeah, because there's like so many conditions that come at us that we don't even, that we're out of control in, but it just costs us a lot of money.
And I think that's where I'd like to kind of go back to this top line item here. Your construction managers structured this project incredibly well, right? We built into this as much as we could. Well, they built into this as much as they could. That foresight, once we saw this push in December, the contract was structured in a way that was sort of foresaw as much as that as we could, so we could negotiate within the confines of that contract. So we're not coming back to you to say, now we need more money, now we need this. They did a very good job building those contingencies, and we will use those contingencies as they were designed, but they were built into that contract at that time. So we do have the ability to work with our contractor to make sure we can keep moving.
All set? Okay. Okay. We're going to move on to 10B. At the beginning of the meeting, it was shared with the trustees that this will now be an information and discussion only item for the St. Helena High School gym roofing HVAC project, the football stadium track and field project, and the locker room projects. So I'd like to call on Dr. Vang.
All right, thank you, and I'm going to hand this over to our team that's right up here so they can jump right into the presentation.
I'm going to start this one off, and I'll hand it over to John. The idea is basically you can just run me out after this one. No, I'm teasing, really. What we do have is an ability to, your refunds, your checks from the state are processing, right? They're moving through. You have about $11 million within the bonding authority, and there is an opportunity for you to take advantage of some of that money, right? It would involve a system of taking out a loan, a bridge financing, and then using those checks that come back to pay it back. Now, some of you may be going, why do we want to do this, knucklehead? And that's a very fine answer. What we can do is save you some escalation cycles by doing that. And so this is sort of an exploration of if you would like to do that, if you would like Dr. Vang to explore some sort of bridge financing to buy back a couple of these escalation cycles that we're seeing, as the world continues to churn, as tariffs continue to fluctuate, as inflation continues to move forward, as whatever is happening in the Strait of Hormuz continues to happen, we can buy down some of that inflation by front-loading some of that work. Now, it will have with it a component of bridge financing, which would be sort of like a home equity loan that we'd use those state checks to pay back, right? But this is some of the work that we framed up just in response to that. Again, if you say no way, we still are doing the work that we've already promised. We're still doing the track, we're still doing the air conditioning, we're still addressing the drainage of the quad. All of that is within the contract that we have framed up. There is an opportunity, like we said, if you'd like us to investigate that, to move forward, to just jump the line a little bit using some of that state funding that we now know is coming back. This will be presented for information. Obviously, if this is something you'd like us to entertain further, April from King will come back and she'll talk about the checks that are coming, when you expect to see those, some of that stuff. If this is something that you don't want us to pursue ever again, we'll just come back when the checks are in hand, frame that work up, but it will be a couple cycles of escalation from now. So we just wanted to make sure that you had all that information. If you look at these numbers and say, no way, we won't bring it up again, but it is an opportunity. All right?
Okay.
I'll pass it back to John now.
Thank you.
And to tag on to that, April Thompson with King Consulting will be here next month to provide you with an update on our state funding in terms of where we are with that. So you hear directly from her. They've been helping us manage that piece, putting in our state applications. We have a few applications in line, cash flow that we should be expecting in the upcoming year. So I wanted to bring her back, and therefore, if you have questions, you can ask directly. But I think it's important to bring her back. It's been a while since she's been here to talk about the state funding, what applications we have in line, how much we can expect to see, and what that means for our cash flow.
Right, because on that note, and to what you might have just alluded to, Trent, is that even though checks coming in or reimbursements, we're still talking years. Okay.
So you'll see your first round of checks, I do believe, in December of 27, and then
Yeah.
the next round would follow in June of 28. So
Okay.
you'll get about 11 million within that window of
Okay.
December 27 to June of 28.
Okay.
About 11.6 million would come in.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And with that, just because I'm always, I try not to be pessimistic, but I am with this one, is that 100% that we're going to be getting that money from the state?
You are within the bonded authority. So the umbrella of that proposition includes your checks. Does that make sense?
So 100% we're going to be receiving that money from the
I
state?
will let April say that. I am at 98.5, but I'll let her come give you that 100%. She did, she'll definitely know a little bit more about that. And I do believe that if they change how they look at small schools, it may leap you up a little bit further in that line. So she'll be back to talk about it, obviously. She's actually returning from vacation today, or she would have been here right now. She will definitely come back next month if this is something you'd like us to entertain.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right.
Yeah.
All right, so this is an informational item for the concept schematic design. Motive Studio has provided us with a set of drawings, enough so that we could kind of do the framework of the project. But it's for the gym, roofing, as well as the HVAC, to also provide air conditioning there. The football stadium track and the field. And we've given an option for the locker room portion of that project. So our agenda for this item would be just a little general project information. We'll discuss the site location, the scope of work for the gym and the track and the field. We'll review some of the photos of the existing conditions. Same thing, we'll go over the potential add alternate for the locker room. We have prepared a cost estimate that we will review, as well as a construction schedule, and then open it up for any questions. So as far as the general project information goes, we would remove and replace existing roofing and flashing. We would repair the mansard roof tile. We would remove existing rooftop HVAC units and install 4 new HVAC units that do include air conditioning. We would remove and replace existing synthetic turf at the football field. We would remove and replace the rubber track at the football field. And then again, we would take care of that additive alternate for the modernization of the locker rooms. So the gym and roof and HVAC, you can see 4 new 10-ton HVAC units to provide adequate heating and cooling to the gym. Here is a portion of the roof report. We had a roof report done for all of your sites, all of the campuses. I've highlighted the portion that would be associated with the gymnasium. This is from the roof consultant that was hired, and they're saying about $822,000 to re-roof that building. Here's a section of the roof report. It's a little bit hard to read up there. Apologize for that. But essentially, it's noted within the next 2 to 5 years that the roof needs to be replaced, that it's blistered, it's cracked, and it's basically at the end of its useful life. Here's a couple. I don't have the age of the roof, yeah. They didn't provide that in the report, but 10 years ago? 8 to 10 years. Yeah.
It was due then and we extended it 10 years.
Those coatings last about 10 years, so.
But everything on that previous slide in that column too is in that same category, correct?
That is correct. The 2 items down on the right-hand side are, I think, 3 to 5 years, but I think that's about $40,000 worth of work. The bulk of it is that everything needs to be replaced.
And pardon my lack of construction knowledge, but earlier you mentioned to repair the mansard.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Tile is this something different? Is that?
Yeah, you know where your tile roof section is that you can see from the ground? That section is the mansard.
Oh.
So there's, they would repair that. I think there's some missing and cracked tiles. We would check that for any leaks or anything like that and get that repaired.
And is that a permanent fix, or is that
That would be
eventually
a-
we're going to have to replace again?
That would be a permanent fix, and you would not need to replace it until the end of that useful life. Here's some photos for the gym HVAC. That's the existing HVAC unit. The roof just looks dirty in that photo, but there is some cracking and some delamination. On the right-hand side is our newer exhaust fans that were installed, so we don't need to replace the exhaust fans as part of this project. But again, it does show some blistering at the roof. Here we are up against the mansard on the photo on the left, and that is at the parapet, where the parapet meets the flat roofing. There's additional cracking and delamination there that needs to be repaired before we do start to get major leaks. And then another photo of the existing HVAC and exhaust fan.
Exhaust fans will be absolutely compatible with new HVAC.
I believe they will be, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's the old one, the air, that's the picture of the old air conditioning right there?
That is correct.
HVAC,
The newer exhaust fans are to the left, the round-looking cylinder.
Okay.
As far as the track and field goes, so you can see that we would be doing all of the track and all the field. There's a dotted line that extends from the left-hand side all the way to the right, and then also extends on the upper part of the screen to the parking lot by the baseball field. Motive Studio is checking all of that for ADA compliance. That's something that DSA will want to make sure that we improve, is all that accessible path of travel there. So we would take care of that. We still need to do some investigation on the track itself to see if if it would be appropriate to do a overlay coating, which would save money, or if we need to do a whole removal of that synthetic material down to the asphalt and then build it back up with the new material. So we have reached out to Bainon, who did the track over at RLS, to get an idea from them of what they think, if it's a good candidate for replacement or coating.
One opinion from them, or would you seek other opinions?
We would also seek, Motive has a landscape architect that
Okay.
is also weighing in on that.
Okay, great.
How about the company that did it originally? Are they still, would you get,
I believe that was Bainon.
oh, it was, okay. So it's similar to RLS then, the same company?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Question about the filling. Would this be an opportunity to use the cork filling on the turf like we did at the RLS?
Absolutely. That's probably a discussion that we would have as we, once this
Okay.
project gets approved, on what that exact material is that you want. There's obviously there's cork, there's olive pits, there's a cool play, there's all kinds of different items now. and we could-
Alternatives to those
yeah.
little rubber.
Yeah, and we could have them
Yeah.
come and do a presentation on that.
Great. Thank you.
Courtyard drainage, I'm gonna turn over to Steve for this portion.
Good evening. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the drainage in the high school courtyard. That picture that you see up there currently is the main issue, and that is that the pump doesn't have a lot of room in that box. So the side walls are not big enough to accept 2 pumps, and also it's not deep enough. It's pretty shallow. Also, the tree roots out by the street have elevated or lifted the outgoing pipe that takes the water out to the street. So there's an issue with that. There is also an issue with the power. The power is 110 volt going out to it. It's really a plug type pump. It's not really hardwired in like it should be. And during a storm, if power is lost, you're going to lose any pumping out of that vault too. So in general, we need a bigger vault. We need a backup pump in there in case the first one goes out, and then a better electrical system for the pumps so that they'll work correctly.
Sump pump?
It's called
right?
a sump pump. So it's got a little float on it, and when the water goes up, it turns it on.
And it's literally plugged into an outlet?
Yes, it's been worked on a couple of times,
Okay.
but right now it's plugged into an outlet that's on the side.
Okay. Yeah, okay, thank you.
And in high water conditions, like a big storm, if all that fails, the water could theoretically get up high enough where it could start to seep into the classrooms. So that's the problem with it. Earlier this year, we did do some coring through one of the planters, which helps because a lot of water was collecting on I guess that would be the southeast corner. And with that coring, we have to complete that going through before winter starts, but that'll help pull water through that area.
Southwest.
It drains out to the street? Is that where it goes? Okay. So when the sump is performing at its effectiveness, it pumps out to the street?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Would that remain then? Is that the
Yes.
plan with that? Okay.
So the alternate for the locker rooms that we've been talking about. So this is an existing plan of how the locker rooms are essentially situated. If I could get to this blow up. So on the left-hand side is the women's side. You can see that on the upper left-hand corner there are. Whoa, I went too far there. The upper left-hand corner is the gang showers. Don't really see those used in high schools much anymore. And then the restrooms right next to it, don't believe we meet ADA requirements on those anymore. Lockers are pretty beat up. The coaches' offices need some improvement. There's the team room in the middle. Lockers are beat up. The flooring in the whole area needs to be replaced. Same thing on the boys' side, upper right-hand corner. It's the gang showers, so there's 4 showers, no individual stalls. And then general tile damage and door damage and just needs a little bit of love. So here's some photos of that. You can see on the upper right-hand corner, there's some cracked tile and the walls are beat up. I think there's some missing tile down at the bottom where that little pop-out is along the hallway there. Left-hand corner, the urinals right next to the sinks. There's no urinal dividers there. Tile actually in that location is in decent condition, but it doesn't meet ADA anymore. Lower left-hand corner, lockers are pretty beat up. The flooring, the epoxy coating on the flooring is gone and the concrete there is cracked, and it does not meet ADA. And then you can see in that photo on the lower right-hand side where the gentleman is measuring, the epoxy walls, they're just beat up and grimy. No matter how much you clean them at this point, they're stained. Here's a closer picture of that floor that's where the epoxy material has popped off. This is that team room, older lockers in the team room, no ADA benches. Just needs an overall improvement. Flooring damaged, the doors need to be fixed. You could see the benches in there. It's years of use. This photo, you can see the drinking fountain there, and the wall, the patching in the walls, and the cracking at the walls. And then here is the gang shower that I was mentioning. I'm not sure if this is the boys or girls side. This is the girls side. And you can see the staining on the wall and kind of that open concept that's not really used anymore. Coaches' restroom, not ADA compliant. And here's the new plan of what it looks like. And I think Trent could better describe what he's going to do here than I can.
So one of the things that we've done is removed the gang showers and brought them back to 6 individual stalls for each locker room. Obviously, that's sort of the new trend in schools now, to make sure that we provide that privacy and sort of the security. So we'll be able to bring those back in. We'll also modernize the coaches' room. There's 2 different ways that we can get that ADA compliance to the coaches' room. So on the left side, there's one alternative, and on the right side, there's another. We can work on however that design's developed, but because we provide showering facilities for the coaches, those do also need to be ADA compliant. And then we look at just sort of a general facelift through the rest, the new lockers, bringing that kind of up, making sure that we have accessibility for all students in our locker rooms. And then the epoxy flooring and the finishes just to bring them back up, to give them that polish and that facelift that we'd want to see throughout all of our facilities. And so the restrooms, maybe we'll make some changes too. Maybe we'll salvage them as best we can, but we'll definitely make sure that we bring all those ADA compliance issues back through as well. But then in the end, just making sure that we polish this back up was definitely one of the comments that we heard when we did the site outreach for the ed specs, was that this is a project that the campus would highly value. And so we're bringing it to you now for consideration. If you have any questions, just let us know.
Skipping slide 25 because there's a mathematical error in there, but it's corrected on this slide. So on the left-hand side is the base project, the gym HVAC and roof, the track, the field, as well as the quad drainage, and whatever associated ADA is going to be required as part of that scope of work. So essentially our anticipated bid amount would be about $4.9 million. We would, at this point, we still want to include the design contingency, but there's still a lot that we don't know. So as Motive goes through and Trent develops the drawings, we'll utilize that funding. Construction contingency would be at 10% for $492,000. Architect fees and contingency, blueprinting, all of the soft costs, soils report and testing, construction manager. We have to have a DSA inspector, as well as plan check fees with DSA, the CEQA, have money set aside for legal fees, and then just some miscellaneous expenses. So that comes to about $6,965,000. And that's just the base portion of the project. If we were to do the locker room, we would add, you could see the 2 columns on the right-hand side, we would add an extra $1.6 million, almost, 1.595. And that would be for the anticipated bid for that. So that would get us to a $6,516,000 for construction. We would have all the associated contingencies and fees. And by the time we get done with everything, we're at $9,260,000. Schedule-wise, it's a lot of money.
Can I just ask a question on the previous slide? On the unit column, what does LS stand for?
Lump sum.
Lump sum, thank you.
There's a calculation for it, but it's just lump summed in the...
This is one big bake sale, huh?
Schedule-wise, so once we get board approval, we would then be able to continue with the DSA design, which is underway right now. We're hopefully trying to get into DSA by the end of October. And with the reviews, we hope to get out by the end of February. We would go through that RFP process for the leaseback. Contractor would bid the project to subcontractors about February of 2027. And then we would start construction. Essentially, we would start with submittals as early as April, middle of April, and then actual mobilization would be June. I have June 4th on here, but that's just because I think that's when the date is that everybody is out of school. I could be off by a couple days, but it would be a summer construction project. I do anticipate the locker rooms would go into September. There's a potential that they would be able to be done during the summer as well. So we're just not there yet to be able to define that. And then we would have substantial completion in September. Oh, we're going the wrong way. We would like to do this as a leaseback. For the same reasons that we wanted to do the elementary school as a leaseback. The HVAC lead times, they vary based on the equipment and the demand. Obviously, jurisdictional review is taking longer and longer, and I would have never anticipated that it took as long as it took for the previous project. So we want to start this early. It also allows us to do an early investigation, get the contractor in there, so that during breaks they can get their heads above the ceiling, trace pipes, core the roof. We can do all that kind of stuff. And then it ensures the quality of workmanship on the construction. So it's based off of the best value, not the lowest number. So in the end, it provides for a better project and better control of that money.
Okay.
Any questions?
Okay, again, this is a information and discussion only item now. So any comments or questions, trustees?
Okay, don't shame me. I don't know the answer to this. When we have a visiting team, do they use this facility or is there a separate visiting locker room? Okay, or they'd use so if it's a women's team, they have to use the men's?
Our women use the men's.
So if it's a
So
women's,
if it's girls volleyball, our girls team would use the boys' room, and the visiting team would use the girls.
Got it.
And I believe the team room is just for football, is that correct? That,
Different groups that use the same thing. Right. This is the locker room. Those are the larger lockers for.
Okay. Okay. So on this locker room in particular, so I see the new designs eliminate the shower areas on both sides, correct? I mean, you're eliminating showers, not the space.
right. So what it does is it provides for individual
Stalls.
showers. I think
Correct.
there's 6 stalls on each side.
Okay. Would there not be an argument to made that if we don't need those showers, we don't need a coach's shower?
So the way the state is very, yes, that argument could be made. If there is a coach's shower, it needs to be accessible. If there's not, we don't need to put them back. We could tell the coach to use one of those as well.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Can I ask
And
a question about coaches' showers? We have to supply them?
We need to run that by CDE.
Okay.
Right? Because if you provide a coach's shower, it has to be accessible.
Sure.
We may be able to go to CDE and say, we believe our coach could use our student shower, and they may say, no way, your
Okay.
coaches cannot shower where your students shower.
Totally
just for
understand.
like that separation.
Okay.
So we've always seen coaches separated from students in that regard.
Okay. And the way I'm understanding this is being brought to us for the exact reason of like, the ball is moving forward, if we're going to use sports analogy on this. So we might as well include this at this point because ultimately it could be saving us money.
You're going to, and again, this kind of goes back to the comment about one big bake sale. You have money coming back to you. If we use a bridge financing system, we can grab access to that to save you a couple escalation cycles.
Okay.
Because we are going to modify the football field, we will have to do something to those showers, right? Because we will have to provide accessibility to those because those showers technically serve your sports field. Now, in some districts, we take all the showers out. Right? We just cap them off and we say there are no showers. So that's a viable option.
Okay.
In some districts, we rip apart just the minimum amount we need to kind of get by. So there is a strategy for all of those, but we will have to do something to those showers in regards to doing the fields.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's important information to know.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So,
I'm sorry.
no. I was going to say, given the state of, buckling, missing tiles, I think in this, exploration stage, this is where this price tag could actually really go up, because we don't know what the water damage is behind, that's over years have gotten behind tile and into the walls. We have no indication to know what's existing back there.
So I think there's two things that you've done well here. Again, is the adopting the leaseback is going to allow some early investigation, and then John does have in his numbers that construction contingency.
Okay.
So that bucket accounts for sort of the unforeseens, and we strip it out. So we have that built into the budget. And again, that doesn't mean they get it. That just means that they can ask for it, and if they can verify that they've used it diligently and fairly, they can have that.
Okay. This part of the project is obviously what causes more discussion and questions for us, because I do think the other ones, the gym has needed HVAC for quite some time, as I think we all can shake our heads to. The drainage issue is, holy moly, I'm just a really bit, I can't believe there's only one sub pump doing all that. So I think it comes down to this locker room situation primarily.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm formulating some more questions. So.
No, I was thinking shower-wise, and Ben, maybe or is this something we would need to poll coaches? How often are the showers used? Do the athletes use them? Do we need them? I'm guessing if you're getting on a bus and driving 3 hours back to Fort Bragg or something, you might want to shower before you go, but how efficiently are they used?
They're not actively used, but I think it's mainly because of how they're constructed. Being fully exposed, those days are over. So from a water damage perspective, they're not utilized, if at all, anymore. I think in rare circumstances, the example you just gave about traveling pretty far, but as somebody who supervises all the football games, when I pass the bus to go to my car, I don't think many of them are showering.
I actually asked my kids about this because they've been in a lot of sports, and they have never used the showers except for swim unit during PE, and then they use an outside shower or the showers that are in the front entrance when you come in from the external entry to the pool. They've never used the showers in the locker room.
We've actually done an analysis in the office to look at the company that sells Axe body spray, and their stock price has continuously grown since the rolling out of the iPhone and sort of California pulling showers. So a lot of it is done through cologne.
So what would it look like if we didn't have the showers?
So if we will have to do something, and then if we do decide that we want to just cap the showers, you could literally leave them there and just take the heads off and screw some pipes on.
So we have it's required to have showers in the locker room.
No, it's not. No. But if you have showers, then they have to be accessible. So we have some districts that we work with that say our students don't shower, and we just take the heads off and screw on like a pipe cap, and then they have no showers, and therefore there's no showers to make accessible.
So I guess my question is if we know that we're not going to have showers and we're not building it out like a shower area, we're building it out where there's more locker room or more space for dressing rooms or whatever. That's acceptable.
Yeah, if the district would like to say we're just done, we don't want to offer the individual stalls, absolutely, we could expand the locker room into that facility space as well.
Mm-hmm. Are there rules about size of your school, how many showers you're required, or is that?
CDE does have rules, but they're changing. Right now they're changing very dramatically. And so the California Department of Education will say, they're softening on it because everybody understands that nobody wants to stand in front of, it's the complete exposure, and everyone has a camera in their pocket now. So they're changing those rules, and you'll start to see that more and more districts are just pulling their showers out.
And what about gender neutral? Are there rules regarding that? Does there have to be an area that's not male or female?
Coach's shower.
Would they use a coat or even a toilet area or a shower area for?
Yeah, so on a district by district basis, we are seeing gender neutral locker rooms, right? And so you will see those in some districts. They're not in every district. You are seeing those that if you do not come back with the showers, that's something you could build in that space if you so choose. Things like that are coming in, but I don't believe there's strict legislation about requiring it yet.
I guess one of my questions would be, if you're saying we're going to be mandated to do something to the locker room because we're doing a big overhaul to the track and field, it would be nice to know what those things are and then the cost of that.
They can be, yeah. And so Yeah, they could be very minimal.
separate from
Yeah.
this whole modernization, just so we know.
Yeah, and we can definitely break that out. They'd be very minimal, right? They could be very minimal. You could say we're done with showers, and then Mike and his team could go cap them all, you know, and you just wouldn't have any. So then we wouldn't have to worry about modernizing them.
But not bathrooms, because you said the bathrooms aren't ADA either,
The coaches' restrooms are not. The coaches' toilet rooms are not.
or
So
the boys and girls, I thought you said.
some of those could be done through like removing fixtures and,
Okay, so
and
just
minor
knowing what that is
modernizations.
would be nice to know. Thank
We
you.
can- We can give you like a general price for that.
And I guess, Dr. Vang, on when we created the facilities master plan, and we created that prioritization list based on our warm, safe, dry, where did the locker room modernization fall on that list?
I don't have it in front
Okay.
of me, but it is on the list.
It's on the list, okay. I know, I figured it was on the list. You know, it's not that it's not important. I don't want, that's not what I'm after. I'm just trying to, you know, with a substantial price tag attached to it, was there something else on our facilities master plan that does jump on priority for warm, safe, dry?
And I think that's an amazing, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, if you go back to the slide, was it 6, that showed the roofs at the high school campus alone that have to be replaced within 2 to 5 years.
Yeah.
That is the cost of the modernization.
Yeah.
And that is warm, safe, and dry. Like, but that's the point, is where is this on the master plan? Because we should be funding based on our master plan.
And so it is definitely on there, and because because you bear with me and we went through all that work and that heavy lift, it's on there, it is scored, but it came both in the facility master plan and the education specifications. So it's sort of working in dual there.
Okay.
So it is in the facility master plan, it is there, but it also emerged as part of the educational specifications. We kind of work hand in hand because it was a request, a high level request of the high school campus.
Okay. Okay.
Could we maybe have a couple options? Like, if we just replaced lockers, painted the walls, fixed the floors, it would cost X amount. If we put in new bathrooms and new showers, it would cost X amount. Maybe give us some options and,
Like an à la carte locker
yeah,
room.
There will be-
or just plan A, B, and C.
Yeah, there's gonna be certain jumping off points for sure. Like there'll be, we can definitely do like if we just cap the showers and leave them.
Yeah.
If we strip them and make them into something else, or if we move them into that, we can definitely do that. But and we can break it down based on areas for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, thanks for not running us out. This was a big one. I
No,
feel
but
like
I'm
we
not done
really-
yet. No.
If
No,
I don't show up and the tomatoes aren't flying, then we're having no.
So-
You guys are always very patient.
So
with
go
us.
ahead and go back to the budget. That's what I'm going to be talking about right now. So, so in June, we approved a proposal for professional services for the construction costs of this project, not including the locker room. And it came in at $3,568,320. And now we're coming in at $4,921,000. How does that look, and why the difference?
So I know that initial one didn't have the re-roof in it, and so that's, 800,000 plus markups. So there's $1 million right there.
Let's see, gymnasium.
As we understood sort of the initial budgeting of that, it was the track resurfacing, the field, adding the air conditioning, which is in both, and then the pump drainage. It did not include the complete re-roof of the gymnasium building, which I think was $850, and then it rolls through with all of its markup, because that then, because of the contingencies all being a percentage of it, all kind of marks its way up, and so that's kind of how we get to that 4 million mark there. So that jump, if it is at the direction of the board to say, hey, we'd like to wait and we do that roof a little bit later, we can definitely do that as well and go back to that original proposal of that contract.
Well, the thing is, and this is on the proposal, in the gym proposal, it says HVAC upgrade at the gymnasium, roofing work at the gymnasium.
So
this is an additional roofing
when
work.
we lift those units up, we'll swap them with different units and we'll have to like patch back and do some work there. The number that John has in that full build out now is a complete re-roof and repair of the mansards, which are the sides there too as well. So we were expecting some limited work to accommodate the old units and the new units, not a full re-roof in that.
Okay. And then did we know about this is the first time we're hearing about the new roof? The the new project that's been added to this? This is the first time we're hearing about that, is correct, or no?
And we haven't added anything, just to make sure, like, if you want us to direct us to, we can start to buy back some of that deferred maintenance, right? So we know that the complete re-roof of the gym is needed to happen in the next 2 to 3 years, right? We can do that on the next cycle because we've sort of set up this sort of cyclical moving through the campuses. We could come back the next time we visit the high school and do that re-roof then, right?
Okay.
The idea of all of this is if you'd like us to be ambitious and bite off some of this, sort of front loading some of that funding, we can outreach that original budget.
Okay.
If you say, no way, knucklehead, we'll come back and do it the next time we're here, right? So that's really what the whole gist of this presentation is. If all of this is just not sitting well and we don't want to talk about it anymore, we can come back and redo it the next time we're here in 4 years, right? But that's escalation cycles that we'd be pushed into.
Right, right, okay.
But Trent, on that note, like from a construction standpoint, not talking numbers at the moment, when you're pulling off those units, that's the time to do the roof, because otherwise, if we wait, then you're pulling off those brand new units to do you're paying for labor second time around. So it makes sense to do that the first time.
And again, we're just trying to find some wise pairings.
Yeah.
And places to jump off. And if we do say, yes, we'd like to reach into that, both of these are reaches beyond.
Okay.
Right. You have a functional project that gets the track, the turf, and the AC in the gym, right? We can reach beyond that if you'd like us to. Again, we can just never bring this up, or we can reach into that for you for sure.
It's just a big responsibility.
It is.
So.
It is, and I think we were talking about the HVAC and the roof and the sub pump. Those are all things I think that we want to continue to have discussions about moving forward with, and then looking at the locker room, but looking at a few different plans for the locker room, perhaps in our next discussion. Now that this is just information and discussion this month, and if we have a deadline for December, then we need to think about what we want next month, September and October, to look like in terms of discussion and decisions. So I'm hearing that we're feeling like we are interested possibly moving forward with HVAC in that gym, with the sub pump and the drainage situation, and with the track and turf. And that we want to take a look at a few different plans for the locker room. Would we be in agreement with that with a
That sounds
September
great.
discussion?
And understanding where that falls on our priority list, because we have to use our priority list.
And should review priority list.
And if we need to revise our priority list because it's been a year, we should do that so that we can make a decision based on our priority list.
Okay.
And options and how we're going to finance all of this, how we're going to pay for everything.
Yeah, and that's going to be April.
That's number one on my list.
Okay.
Is how we're gonna pay for all of this, how much it's gonna cost to bridge financing, what the percentage is for that, how long we're gonna have that, also having April coming in next month and talking about the state funding. I definitely looking forward to that, because I want to hear 100%, man. That's what I want to hear. I'm not good with 95.
I think time is
98.5 is not enough, and I completely understand that, right? And again, you are an amazing board, and you're always very willing to let us kind of push those boundaries to make sure that we're always doing the best work we can for those students. So thank you for hearing this out. We have our marching orders, and we'll take that back. We'll investigate some bridge financing. We'll bring you more of an a la carte menu, and then thank you for trusting us to continue to this work.
Okay,
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Thank
And
you.
I do want to say, and I mentioned it to Dr. McClay, is sometimes what's helpful, because for myself particular, I haven't stepped foot inside, the high school in quite a while. Sometimes it's just helpful to go look at the space as well, to know, so if we want to do that, we can make arrangements with you, Dr. McClay, to go do a little tour and just to kind of lay eyes on it, because sometimes that just really helps the decision process. Okay, thank you.
All of your senses. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I've personally never been in the locker room, so
Okay.
never have.
Considering it adding to our workshop day at the beginning of September.
Good idea.
When we're all together. Okay. Okay. Let's move on to 10C. Wait. Yeah, this is information and discussion. So what? Yes, public comment. Yes. If we have any public comment, please come. Thank you for the reminder.
No problem. Well, good evening.
Good evening.
Board President Simon, Vice President Mora, board members, staff, and members of the community. My name is Ruben Galvan. I'm a field representative of the North Coast States Carpenters Union, Local 751, which covers Napa County. And I'm here to talk about labor standards, strong labor standards, and the importance to include them in the St. Helena High School project and all public works projects. When strong labor standards are a core part of any construction project, it means workers get paid fair wages, apprentices from state accredited apprenticeship programs are given the opportunity to learn and earn while they train. It means health insurance benefits for the workers and their families, as well as meaningful labor compliance to uphold labor laws. This is a prevailing wage job, which takes care of the fair wages, but prevailing wage alone doesn't guarantee health insurance for the workers, doesn't guarantee safe job sites or labor compliance. We've seen it time and time again. Without strong labor standards, we leave the door wide open for bad actors, the kind that misclassifies workers to avoid paying benefits, unsafe job sites, contractors who engage in premium fraud, tax evasion, and in worst cases, wage theft. I understand that I'm sorry, my thing is messing up. I understand that Greystone West Company handles your construction management, and that contractors must complete a CUPCA, California Uniform Public Construction Cost Accountability Act application registration. On your pre-qual list, I saw Bobo Construction Inc. Apparently, they are qualified to bid on your projects. But let me share something about Bobo. According to public records obtained by the Construction Wage Watch since 2024, Bobo Construction Inc. and their subcontractors have been sued for hundreds of thousands if unpaid wages, penalties, and issued civil wage and penalty assessments for which Bobo was jointly and severely liable, as determined by the California Department of Industrial Relations, DIR, Division of Labor Standards Enforcement. You don't have to take my word for it. You can view this information on constructionwagewatch.org. You have a responsibility to ensure only qualified responsible bidders get awarded public funds projects by upholding strong labor standards. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Mr. Cinto.
One more. I just want to thank Dr. Vang for looking at ways to make the track and field project happen sooner. If you recall, the track and field project was initially funded with private dollars, no monies to the district, was replaced under warranty, and I think it was 12-13. So our investment has been very negligible. As you know, the flag football season commences. There's a lot of excitement around. You know, we've already talked with Mr. Farrell about restriping the field because the dimensions are different for girls flag football. You know, my children do carpet gang, those kind of things. It is beyond its usable life from a warm, safe, and dry standpoint. So I'm very grateful that you guys are looking at this early on. I actually have a note on my whiteboard in my office from when Andy Stubbs first became CBO here about redoing the locker room. I'd be happy to give you a tour. And to Trustee Simon's question, a good buddy of mine recently did the track and field project up in Calistoga, and there is now fill-less turf where you don't have to have any type of fill. And it actually has a 12-year warranty rather than an 8-year warranty, which helps protect the longevity of our field. But anyway, great options beyond, you know, Nike Grind and even Cork, which has issues when it rains. So a lot of good things happening. So the sooner we can jump on this, really the better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. 10C, approval of change order number 1 for the St. Helena Unified School District Maintenance Yard Gate Project. I'd like to call on Dr. Vang.
All right, thank you, President Simon. So the maintenance yard gate, as you saw earlier, our facilities director, Mr. Flores, shared a photo of the completed yard gate project. It was a project with the budget of $151,813. It is 100% completed. The total cost of the project is about $90,000. So inclusive of change order number 1, which is what we're bringing to you for approval today. It's a change order in the amount of $6,500. And Steve is here if there are any technical questions that I might need to defer to.
Okay. Is there anyone present who wishes to comment on this agenda item? Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item?
This is the last we will be seeing about the maintenance gate, I believe, correct?
It is done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Done.
And we saw how beautiful it was and
Yes.
enjoyed by everybody. So that's no question.
Okay. All righty. Is there a motion to approve the change order for the St. Helena Unified School Maintenance Yard Gate Project as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Great. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carried. 10D, approval of resolution 26-8, approving the total base rent for the leaseback contract with Holly Construction Incorporated for the St. Helena Elementary School roof drainage and HVAC project. Dr. Vang.
All right, so I'm bringing forth the contract here that needs to be board approved. As you all know, we're using Holly Construction as our construction firm for the elementary school project, and they were awarded as the best value contractor. And so I'm asking for the board to approve this resolution for the total base rent.
Is there anyone present who wishes to comment on this agenda item? Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item?
I do not.
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 26-8 as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carried. Okay, before we move into human resources, we're going to take a 5-minute comfort break. We'll be back. Thank you.
we starting again?
Okay, we're going to move into Human Resources. 11A, consideration of approval for consent to teach for the 2026-27 school year. I'd like to call on Mr. Heller.
Okay, good evening. Each year, teachers with coursework and background in certain subjects are permitted to teach a course outside of their credential area with their consent. Tonight, we have 4 teachers who have meet the criteria established in California Education Code 44528 regarding consents to teach and have agreed to teach these courses. These teachers, by the way, have taught the same courses last year, and this is simply an annual renewal that we complete. I believe they taught the year before that as well, so this is just something that we do to reaffirm each year.
Great. Is there anyone present who wishes to comment on this agenda item? Do the trustees? Bless you, Trustee Wolf. Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item? Is there a motion to approve Resolution 26-2 through 26-5 as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I will second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carried. 11B, approval of job description and salary schedule for executive assistant to the superintendent, assistant superintendent, and governing board. Mr. Heller.
Okay, the governing board's asked to approve this new job description and salary schedule to support the superintendent, assistant superintendent, and governing board and district daily operations. Job duties have been enhanced to require bilingual skills, advanced technology skills, leadership capabilities, and previous experience supporting cabinet-level public school administrators. This position would combine 2 previous administrative roles into a single confidential position. If approved, staff would post the position immediately, seeking to interview in mid-September and hopefully have the selected candidate on board by the end of September. So we ask for your approval for this position.
Okay. Is there anyone present who wishes to comment on this agenda item? Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item?
No.
Is there a motion to approve the job description and salary schedule for the executive assistant to the superintendent, assistant superintendent, and governing board as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carried. 11C, information and request for approval to open a window for participation in the state-authorized retirement incentive for certificated employees and adopt Resolution 26-6. Dr. Vang.
All right, so per our Article 14.16 of the collective bargaining agreement between SHTA and SHUSD, it states that we will be offering the, I can't even talk right now, the retirement golden handshake this school year. And I have listed here bullet points, 3 possible requirements that CalSTRS has in place for certificate employees. If they meet these requirements, then they can apply for the golden handshake this year that we're offering. And it also, STRS has a requirement that we open the window for 60 to 120 days. And if I did my math correctly, if we choose our window from May 1st to July 30th, that'll be 91 days. Once approved by the board, I will need to then work on proving to the county office that the district can afford this retirement incentive, that it will actually result in a savings. And once that happens, then the county will approve it. Then we can move forward with all this. So the resolution today that I'm bringing forth to you is the start of the process. And then I will need to work with NCOE to continue this, and then we'll put it out to staff.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone present who wishes to publicly comment on this agenda item? Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item?
Just to clarifying, so again, our action tonight is just giving authorization for you to start the process.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, because the resolution's the first piece
Okay.
in this process.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 26-6, opening a window for participation in the state authorized retirement incentive for certificated employees as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carried. 11D, information and requests for approval to open a window for participation in the state authorized retirement incentive for classified employees and adopt Resolution 26-7. Dr. Vang.
So similar to the previous agenda item, which was for CalSTRS, this is for CalPERS, which is for our classified employees. So same process. This is the start. The board has to approve the resolution in order for me to then work with NCOE, who has to then turn around and work with CalPERS on our behalf to request this. So unlike STRS, where I can then, once once this is approved, I work with NCOE, but NCOE doesn't do the work, doesn't do the request on our behalf. CalPERS will require NCOE to make the requests on our behalf. So it's slightly different. But again, the resolution is where we need to begin with.
Great. Is there anyone present who wishes to publicly comment on this agenda item? Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item?
No?
Is there a motion to approve Resolution 26-7, opening a window for participation in the state authorized retirement incentive for classified employees as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carried. 11E, review and consideration of approval for amendment to the employment contract between Superintendent Dr. Jody McClay and SHUSD. Okay, so the board is considering an amendment to the superintendent's contract, which provides the following. The contract is being renewed with a new term of July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2023. No other terms of the contract. 2030. No other terms of the contract are being changed. Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item?
No, I don't.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve contract amendment Dr. Jody McClay, superintendent, as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
There is a second. I will second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carried. Board-related items. 12A, adoption of Resolution 26-9, Hispanic Heritage Month, September 2026. And I'd like to call on Trustee Pelosi.
Thank you, President Simon.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is Resolution 26-9, recognition of Hispanic Heritage Month for September 2026. Whereas the United States commemorates the heritage and culture of all Americans whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. And whereas beginning on September 15th, 2026, and ending October 15th, 2026, the United States celebrates National Hispanic Heritage Month as enacted in Public Law 100-402 on August 17th, 1988. Whereas this year's theme, Together We Are More, reminds us of the enduring strength of Hispanic cultural roots. As we honor the past, we also look to the future, fostering unity, identity, and pride through shared heritage. And whereas Hispanic Americans have contributed significantly to the economic, cultural, and political development of the St. Helena Unified Community, and whereas the student body of the St. Helena Unified School District is composed of 51% Hispanic American students. And whereas Hispanic American classified staff support and enrich all students' learning, and whereas Hispanic American teachers distinguish themselves as educators in the St. Helena Unified School District classrooms, and whereas Hispanic American administrators lead their schools with vision, and whereas Hispanic American school board members lead with distinction, and whereas all citizens will benefit from an accurate portrayal of Hispanic culture, heritage, and culture. And whereas research findings suggest that presenting Hispanic American culture, history, and perspective in the classroom promotes academic success for Hispanic American students. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the St. Helena Unified School District Governing Board proclaims September 15th, 2026 through October 15th, 2026, Hispanic Heritage Month, and encourages schools, staff, and students to honor the historical contributions of Hispanics through interactive classroom lesson plans, guest speakers, and cultural celebrations. Adopted this 13th day of August 2026 at a regular board meeting by the following vote.
Thank you. Is there anyone present who wishes to comment on this agenda item? Do the trustees have any questions about this agenda item?
No.
Is there a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 25-6 as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say no. Motion carried. 12B, review of the governing board annual self-assessment for June 2026. So this self-assessment allows us to reflect on our governance team's performance. We'll review the results, confirm strengths and areas for growth, and discuss mixed perceptions. We'll focus on areas that benefit the board and district, and we can also consider performance improvement goals and work on them, have a discussion about them during a future board development workshop that I believe we have scheduled at the end of August, beginning of September, that we all would like to do that. Okay, so I think what we should do is take a look at the distribution of ratings. I believe the majority of them are in the green. All board members rated this item as almost always or often. We have several blue. A majority of board member rated these items as almost always as or often as well, but there was some, it went to often instead of always often. And then yellow would be area of growth for simple majority, but I don't recall us having any, yeah. So we can have a discussion on anything you like in here. I guess if we go down to board meetings, that seems to be our first blue. There's a good relationship between how long the board spends on an agenda item and the importance of the item. And we have someone who is not sure. We also have less often. I feel like this item lends itself to a little discussion to see where we can clean this up a bit.
Well, I'll start.
Okay.
I was probably the one in the middle, because to me, I think that and I've said this before in the past, I think it's our job as board members to discuss whatever comes our way for however long we need to discuss it. So I don't really feel like there's any reason to have a relationship between the how long the board spends on an agenda item and how important the item is.
Okay.
That's kind of my position on
Okay.
that. Yeah.
I do feel when there are presentations, it is nice to have our guests understand presentation time considerations, so we don't have someone perhaps presenting for over 30 minutes. And I know what you're talking about is different from that. You're talking
Right,
about
but that's a very good
discussion side.
point. That's a very good point, yes.
So I think we've been good at communicating that with Dr. McClay about just, being mindful when people are presenting.
Yeah, and I'm with Trustee Kerr, but I think we're cut from the same cloth because we've come from a background where some of these meetings, whether I was on this side or that side, where we were here for a long time, and sometimes you you know, what may seem perfunctory to us is very important to somebody sitting out there. And so the discussion sometimes takes as long as it takes. And it can be uncomfortable to feel like if your topic felt dismissed. But a lot of the time, too, a lot of our audience members do not maybe know what happens prior to our arrival at this dais. How many meetings we've met with staff, or particularly with Dr. McClay, to say, I have all these many questions, this is what I feel like I would like to say. So, you know, I think it really does just vary on the topic. I think we've done a really good job, and to your credit, President Simon, is that you've really kind of tightened up this agenda as well, and I feel like it flows a bit better. Some things have turned into written reports, which help us, and because we can get information ahead of time, and then if questions are relevant, we get to ask them here. Sometimes we just need a better education for ourselves that doesn't necessarily need to be shared with an audience, because it's just for our understanding, because we don't live and breathe it day in, day out. So that was my response to that.
Okay. If we scroll down a tad to board development, number 32, the board agrees on the process for identifying officers. We have a not sure. Is that something that needs to be discussed?
That wasn't me, the not sure, so I don't know.
It could have been me, quite honestly. I don't know if I ever really felt I knew there was a process, and I've always been total agreement with what's decided, but I felt like the superintendent had said, here's what I think should be. Do you agree that Laura should be president, Sean should be vice? I'm like, yeah, great, you know. So I guess I probably was, I've never really known how that's considered, what the process, that there is a process. And like I said, it's not that I disagree with anything. I probably said not sure because I've never really felt if I looked somewhere, it would tell me this is how we choose officers. So not a negative, just being honest.
No.
Yeah, in the bylaws, we can probably find more information, and then the way that we, you know, I think we have a very fair board in terms of rotating through trustee and clerk and vice president.
I agree.
And president. So looking at it that way, but we can continue to make sure that we have total clarity on how the officer process works.
And I think like in the first couple of years when we were new, you were you had been there for a bit, and it was just kind of, well, I think Sean should be clerk or something. I was like, that's great. You know, it wasn't
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
that like I said, I didn't disagree, but I just felt like it was the superintendent suggesting this would be best, and that was fine. So that's all I'm saying.
So do you think we should keep it the way it is, that process, or should we kind of revisit a different way?
I mean, maybe we just, you know, kind of talk and all agree that our process will be contributions from the board president and the superintendent, and just, you know, people step up, you know, from clerk this, and that's just our process.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and also it's just the challenges we're bound by the Brown Act with that too, so we can't, you know, chat with each other and things too.
And I know like Lisa stayed probably vice president longer to help Laura, and I mean, that all made a lot of sense. I just didn't know if there was really
I don't think it's written in our governing handbook, for example, other than the process of like, you accept your nomination, you vote. There are some school boards where they campaign for the position. I mean, it's not like signs, but they campaign because they really want to be a board president. There's no obligation to be a board president. You know, when you agree to become a governing board trustee, it doesn't say you must serve as president. It just also, it seems to be a very common mindset that you do rotate so that everybody gets the experience, that a vice president is in that role in working with the president so that that is professional development that would step in, makes it a little bit easier to be in the president role. And you're right, and sometimes with the clerk position, it is as simple as a superintendent saying, would you be willing to take that role on?
Right.
Kind of thing. So, but yeah, and we can certainly flesh that out a little bit more at a workshop if you feel is it. But I think usually you allow your superintendent to not, so we don't violate anything, to kind of say, you know, do you want to stay on in that role? And traditionally, as you are discovering, that board presidents here have tended to stay in the role for 2 years for a lot of different reasons. Continuity, working with the superintendent, it allows a vice president to then really kind of work closely with the president. So it seems to be working. So it's
No, it does. And I think we're very fortunate that we have great respect for each other, and we can discuss that.
Right.
And the decisions, I don't think any of us would disagree. So that's all. I just think I never knew the exact process, but it works.
let us know if you desire the gavel.
I will not campaign in November for president, rest assured. 34, the board effectively orients new members. We've got a little bit of a difference here on this. I think I was either a 4 or a 3, and I was, you know, the time that I came on the board, the superintendent at the time was really good at meeting me once a month or whenever I had questions. So coming from that point. But I do think what I've tried to do with Trustee Mora and Trustee Pelosi did this for me as well, but for us to continue to be mindful of pulling the vice president into agenda meetings and just pulling them into more decisions than we think to really get them ready for the role of president, especially that second year that they are vice president. So I just wanted to have a conversation about continuing to just be mindful of that, the president's duties to the vice president when they are vice president.
And I will take that a step further, because I always, and I'm sure I've shared this over the years, when I came onto this board, I think there was a big assumption that I just knew the job because I was an involved parent or sat on the parent group. And it's a completely different role than being a parent group president kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I got very little mentoring or onboarding when I came on. And I was lucky to have Jeannie here, but I eventually it was a mentoring system that we put into place. Sean was my mentee when she came on.
And Trustee Kerr was mine.
Yeah,
I don't want to
and
forget
I think
that.
that's really,
She
it's
was
really
amazing.
crucial. And
Absolutely.
But nobody, it has changed night and day since I came on board. And I don't know if it was just this assumption that I knew, but I think it's improved. I think it can always probably has room for more improvement because there's a lot to learn. And I think people discover that. You think you know, you're an involved parent, it makes you know what this job is. So I think should the time come and we have another new trustee that comes on, I do encourage a mentoring system, attending as many CSBA workshops as they can maneuver in their schedule, because that's our entity that teaches us Brown Act. It teaches us how to interact with staff, where our lane is, all those kind of things. So that is part of it, in addition to what you talked about in building a relationship with the vice president. So
I'm glad we discussed that item. So it was just good to be mindful of what we need to remember to do for new trustees.
And I think,
for each other.
because part of that also parlays into our student representative. They need to have proper onboarding and to think about what it's like to be a high school student coming into a room of adults. We've been so lucky to have who we've had, but it can be an intimidating situation, and knowing when they can speak and when do they get to all those kind of things, and learning about budgets and things like that. So the same kind of mentoring and training needs to happen for them as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Okay. If we look at setting direction, I just want to be mindful of time too.
Okay.
Instead of going, we could just have several more, but are there any that we want to have a conversation about right now? We have a couple in setting direction, 2 in accountability, and community leadership.
Well, here's what I would maybe recommend in the effort, because we are going to have a governing workshop as well.
Yeah.
And I think the setting direction would be a perfect opportunity to add that into that.
Okay.
Because I also will say in the number 36 is a common one that there's always uncertainty about how to answer that, because you don't really necessarily understand the statement. It was the same time that we always, many years, about the board advocates at a federal, state, and local level. So many times it would be like, we would get a yellow or a red, because we're not thinking, because we're not at Sacramento, we're not advocating for education. So those are so I would recommend that we add them.
I agree. Let's save setting direction questions and our accountability questions for our workshop.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. We're going to move on. Is that good? Yep. Okay. Okay, we're going to head into consent agenda. I was told at the beginning of the meeting, Dr. McClay would like us to pull items B and C.
Yes, and those came at the request of trustees, simply to have a little bit more discussion on both. No, that's okay, but I made the request for them.
Okay, thank you. Give me 1 second here. Okay. So the consent agenda contains routine items judged as appropriate to be acted upon in one motion. If a board member requests that an item be removed from the consent agenda, the item will be considered under discussion action items. So let's see here. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exceptions of item B and C as presented?
Also a reminder, and also as an amendment to a revision to the personnel register as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
But we're not pulling that, just was it
Just a revision.
Yes, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exceptions of B and C, and for the trustee Kerr, say it again?
The revision of the personnel register, aye.
Thank you, as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carried. Okay. So I apologize. We're going to come back to B and C.
Want to go to B right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I can speak.
Go ahead. Dr. McClure.
So a couple of trustees asked that we take an opportunity to revisit how we are approving field trips at the beginning of the school year that are coming in as what I'll quote as like blanket approvals. So there's a lot of details that aren't in place yet. It makes sense for the teachers. They want to get it budgeted. They're starting to plan. They know where they're going to go, but they might not know when or how many students or what the specific cost is. And so some trustees have raised the question, is that typical? It's really not. I've not seen it very often. It's usually used only in rare circumstances, but I wasn't here for the history of it. I'm not sure when and why we started that process. And so again, a couple of you have said, can we have a conversation about your comfort level with approving those types of trips when you don't have very many details?
Okay.
And I will jump in because I was one of those trustees. And this particular agenda, it jumped out at me. Maybe it was just because of the sheer number, and I was like, it made me go, is this what we normally do? So I actually nerded out and went back all the way to 2024 and looked at all the agendas and field trips. And yes, there are, but this particular submission has the most on it that it's had in probably 16 months that I could find. And again, mine is about process and protocol. It's not about the content of the field trips. I just think it might be time to look at how we've been doing this, and maybe that is not the best way. It leaves for a lot of gray area, and I don't know if that is a vulnerable position for anybody. And I just think that maybe Dr. McClay, if we could look at that, and I mean, we do it every month, and if need be, we have held special meetings for field trips to approve that maybe missed something. So it's not like it's beyond our capabilities to have to approve something, but I would personally feel better if some trustees agree with me that we look at this and try and hone in on more details when it comes to us. Because again, this is not about the content of what it is. That's not the lane for ICS to be in. It's just, I'd like to see some more specifics attached to it.
And with that said, I think that in my mind, when I'm seeing it, and I saw it, but I didn't really think about it, with the exception of, because I know that we do this for insurance purposes, and I always think if it's not specific enough, is that a liability? You know what I mean? Is that going to be something that the insurance company comes back to us? And that's if there's some kind of an accident or something.
No, it definitely
That's my thought.
raises my red flags when it comes to a liability perspective. Absolutely. So if the board would like, why don't I convene a few folks to try to gather some history, talk through the process, how can we refine it to get you more specifics so that everybody's a little more comfortable? And then maybe we can come back in September, maybe October at the latest, and give you an update or a revised process.
Yeah, I mean, if the process and the paperwork is working it's just more of like, it seems a little odd to just blanketly approve field trips for 26, 27 when we don't know when and how many and all. It just seems a little bit, I don't want to say irresponsible, but to a degree, it kind of seems irresponsible. So
No, I agree. I'm happy to convene people.
I agree. There are a few in there that do have dates that are in September. I was just looking through we meet when in September, because there's one for September 16th, and I don't want to miss. Well, yeah. So I'm just wondering.
So so this is where we're at, but I do think I think we're in a position where we don't want our students and staff that have created something right now. I think I'm leaning towards we approve what's in front of us tonight. The idea was just to have a discussion about it, and anything that comes forward from here on out should not be varies or blank. Because I don't know, Trustee Moore. I mean, right now I don't want these things to, if they're supposed to happen in September, I don't want them to not happen for our students.
Yeah. I guess what I'm wondering is, can we say we will approve the 1, 2, 3, 4 that actually have specific dates in September before we meet again?
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah, we can approve this whole thing. We were just pulling it to talk about protocol and process, not necessarily declining a field trip or not. That's the way I was interpreting it. Dr. McClay did.
No, that was exactly my interpretation as well. In fact, I would not want to penalize staff or students in any way, shape, or form, by changing our process midstream.
Right.
So I was under the assumption that you would most likely approve, since we have done this in the past. When we looked in cabinet, it looked like more of these happen at the beginning of a school year
They
to
do.
try and kind of reserve the concept. So if you're comfortable approving these, we will convene some folks and look to see how we can get these more specific in the
And
future.
you'll have better data, and will it come back to us, or it'll just?
I don't think these need to unless you want them to.
Well, if a lot of them don't have the right data, you're saying the right data will be gathered
But I'm saying,
before the field trip happens?
well, it has to be before the field trip happens, but once you approve these, like, we wouldn't need to bring them back for approval.
Right.
I'm just saying moving forward.
It's something that I'm willing to, I'm in favor of doing. That's not, because we did a lot. I looked at June's agenda. June, we had a lot that had varies, and we approved those. So again, this is not about penalizing students and planning and anything like that. This is about going forward.
I was just clarifying. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to, let's see here, vote on B, and then we'll move down to C.
Well, you could do B and C together, right? And talk about them both and then make a motion to approve B and C?
Okay,
Or-
but we're sure we're gonna make a
Well,
motion to
no,
approve
I guess
C?
we're not, but we
Okay,
can talk
yeah.
about the other one right now.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Approval of fundraisers? And who would like to share comments on this?
Well, I was one of the people that I
Okay.
don't understand at all what I'm being asked to approve. There's a various and then a slide with a picture, and I don't understand.
So I can speak a little bit to this. I don't believe Mr. Farrell was able to attend tonight. He has a family commitment, but Mr. Cinto is here as well. The gist of it is that for all of our athletic events that we are broadcasting, so let's say there's a grandparent out of state, right, or a parent can't get off work to see one of our events, we use a venue similar to like a YouTube that shows that event, and folks outside, not here, can log in and watch it. What Mr. Farrell would like to do is to sell advertisement spots that would look like this on a banner when that event first comes up for the person who's viewing it. And Mr. Cinto, you may have a better way of explaining it, but that was my layman's
No,
understanding.
you did a great job. We're always looking to secure additional funding to provide for our student athletes. It's been talked about in the past. We don't want our fields to look like, no disrespect, but Little League field where advertisements are all over the place. We don't want that to be jammed in front of our students. But this is an additional way Mr. Farrell found through, I think it's home campus, where to Dr. McClay's point, I mean, somebody logging in from outside would see these advertisements, and it would bring in some funds for our programming. That's really it.
Now that you've described it, this actually came up at the Saints Athletic Association board meeting last night, so we discussed it at length, and I can actually answer my own question now that I know the context. As examples, the Saints Athletic Association was going to put a QR code for buying the booster pass. They were going to put potentially an online store for buying Saints apparel, where it's just like a markup, and the Athletic Association would just get the markup. And the school's not involved, the Athletic Association wasn't involved. I didn't hear anything about actually selling an advertisement. It was more about presenting something that we might sell, such as a booster pass, and it's using Huddle, which the Athletic Association pays for.
This is really no different than like when we used to sell ad space, Mr. Cinto, right, for the programs? Yeah, same kind of concept. Now we're
on
now
the Huddle
online.
platform.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, because it just was not clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, is there a motion to approve items B and C on the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make that, go ahead.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carried. Future agenda items for September. Why don't we take a look at those? Any questions, board members?
Not any questions, but.
Or any
but-
trustee have subjects for future agenda items?
Well, Dr. McClay, if I could ask something, and if there are trustees that are in agreement, when it works, I'm wondering, could you perhaps follow up with the CSEA rep? Because I feel like tonight this was the second time there was some comments about staff covering other positions but we've never been given any context around that, and I feel like it's come up twice now, and I'm just wondering if you could maybe dive into it a little bit and see what that's all about, because they were mentioning hiring additional staff, and I mean she went, what was it, 4 positions that we were down from 73 to 69, but then mentioned covering other people. And that was a comment before. So I just kind of want to get a little bit better understanding. I don't think it's appropriate for me to ask that of her. So if you could do that, maybe update the board. If the board is in agreement with that, if you wanted the same information. I don't know if we need 3 people to agree that that's.
Well, I wrote that down as well because I was curious, because I'm like going, I don't want that to be happening. I mean, that's not, we have to be able to be professional and a well-run machine here, you know.
I'm
and-
fairly confident I know which position she's speaking to, but let me have a conversation with her
Okay.
first, just to be certain, and then I'll follow up with you.
Okay, thank you so much.
One of the things I was hoping to see is our whole agenda or board calendar for the year, because that was kind of my question on.
So that
maybe
you'll
that's at our
see
workshop.
on the governing board special workshop, the governance calendar. We've got that draft almost complete and ready for you. And speaking of the governance, or the governing board special workshop, it looks like all 5 of you are available Monday, August 31st. So we're going to go ahead and book that if we've
Okay.
got all 5 of you, and I
Okay.
wanted to get that on the public record, okay?
Oh, my God, okay.
I'll send you invites.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, trustees?
Did you have anything?
No, I don't think so.
Do we also, sorry, I'm sorry, just,
go ahead.
you know the long, why am I'm not talking about the, I guess it is the governance calendar, not the meeting, yes, sorry. God, okay. Good night. Answered my own question with,
Okay, and with that, we're not going to head into adjournment quite yet. We're going to head back into closed session. Yes. Thank you. Get home safely. Take care.